in the montane town of Arasson, or just outside, where two of our heroes are making their way down the road in search of a sorcerer. The other heroes having been left back to do ship repairs. So, as we can see this road just winding out of the town between a few scatterings of farmhouses and sort of buildings built up on the outskirts, small industries, cottages. And along the road walks Captain Finlay and Antonio de Ondana. And what are you talking about? What are you doing as you make your way along the road?
So you don't actually know the sorcerer then? You just know of them?
Yeah, I've not met them personally. I know they offer services for money. Sorceress services, I like that.
I don't know if I want to trust that.
I don't trust it, but maybe our only option at the moment. We'll see what happens when we meet them. I mean,
is it only coin, or can we trade for services and good stuffs?
Well, that's a very good point. I'm going to offer my services as a duelist, should they require a duelist, and then offer to equal that with gold after we've gone. I won't tell them we're going after a treasure.
Right, that's very smart.
But I'll offer my services as a duelist and just say we're on our way to the Glamour Isles, and either my service as a duelist or gold after I've been to the Glamour Isles, as such.
Yeah, if they're open to services, I'll offer my ship if they need to leave this, and I kind of just wave my hands around.
Yeah, I've heard rumors they might have a bit of a drink issue. But
have you seen where we are, Mr. Antonio?
Yes,
I'm surprised we haven't met more sober people.
Is anyone sober?
Not in Montaigne. Not if the stories are true.
But what are your plans once we've found a treasure? Just curious.
If it exists, and if it's as grand as they say it is, I plan to split it evenly amongst all of us. My crew has always been part of a family for me, and growing up, bouncing around Inismore and the marshes and Avalon itself, it's been rough trying to make a go of it. And then when I was inhabited or chosen by Wolfrod the Bold and had to take up his mantle, it's become kind of a point of pride now to do what I can for the Grail and the Queen, of course.
That sounds very fair, actually, to be fair. But yeah, that's a good.
Are you going to be all right with a split that looks to be 14 ways?
Well, everyone's involved with this. I mean, the ship hasn't gone on its own. It's not as if it's like us 2 or 3 or 4. It's like an entire group effort to get there. I mean, we encountered that other ship on the way, and it's definitely a team effort, and we haven't got the treasure yet. And if it's as big as it says, even split 14 ways, it's a fair enough.
Good answer. I knew not to trust the Castilian jail that we broke you out of. You have a good air about you, unlike the rest of your... And I kind of wave my hands around again.
Yeah.
You're not Inish, but you'll do in a pinch. And I kind of just elbow him.
Yeah. I'm suspicious, though. It doesn't make sense. A lot of this doesn't make sense. It just sounds like a setup, but I can't see where the setup was. For example, why was your ship chosen? Was there someone on your crew? I don't have anything against anyone, but it just seems rather strange that your ship was chosen in particular out of all the ships it could have been, and then to deliver me to a certain person, but it's just something to be suspicious of.
Oh, I can assure you, Mr. Antonio, I've not dropped any suspicions since we've left.
No, nothing adds up.
When you told me that this island was part of the Innis Strait, I immediately started to wonder why, in fact, the Starhopper was chosen.
Yeah, it seems a special case, but we shall see how it goes and see what the dice come up with.
All right.
Yes.
This looks like a bunch of drunkards. Which one are we looking for?
Yeah, you can see this stone building. It's got a bit of a terrace outside. Like a, I've forgotten the word. Trellisy thing with grapes growing across it. One of those things all around the outside of this terrace.
It's like a cafe type restaurant type bar,
Cafe, restaurant,
all
server of
in.
wine. There's a
Fancy.
few people sat out drinking, and as you look over them, you see there's a few sort of labourers on their break from work. A couple of younger men playing what appears to be a fairly high stakes game of cards over a table. You can see a little pile of gold next to them, and an increasingly sort of rising tension between the pair of them. But what catches your eye most of all is the woman sat at the table at the corner of the terrace. She's got a mostly empty bottle of wine in front of her and a glass of wine in her hand. Dressed reasonably well, but slightly shabbily. Like, the clothes look like they have seen better days. But the most striking thing about her is that you recognize her. You've seen her. This is the woman that was on your boat. The same dark red hair, the same face. This is the same sorceress who made the hole on your boat in the first place.
Now, this is something I was worried about. I'll look at Finley and then look back at her.
She doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
I'll be honest with you, Mr. Antonio. I'm deathly tempted to take my sword in hand.
The services could be useful in the future, but
I'm gonna walk up to her table.
Okay, I'm going to ask both of you, just because it might be relevant what approach you're taking here, just in case it kicks off.
A dramatic scene?
Yeah, it might be. Depends.
Damn. Okay.
What you're planning here is what approach are you going into this with? Are you primed ready for a fight, or are you more thinking of subtlety and persuasion here?
I think, although it's not my style, I'm trying to be subtle. So I'm trying to think if empathy would be a good one to go for to try and read the situation. Empathy and panache, or empathy? No, actually, wits might be.
Okay.
I feel like that might be worth reading the whole situation.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Antonio is coming at this like a good cop, so I can come at it like a bad cop. So I'm gonna go straight into like intimidation, and panache or brawn, I think.
Okay. Give me a roll. See what raises you've got there.
Okay. Let's try that. First time rolling, so you get an extra dice. 3 raises.
3 raises for Finlay. And Antonio?
2.
2. Okay. Keep those in
Actually,
mind should you need to apply any
when you
pressure
do
to
the
this
rerolls, is
situation.
it based on the skill or the traits?
Pardon?
If you have a trait or a skill at 3, you can get reroll 1 dice. I'm not sure.
Skill.
Skill. Oh, well. I don't get reroll, so it's just 2 for me.
As you draw nearer, the woman looks up to the two of you.
What?
Bonjour? Can I help you?
Sure. Keep your bonjours to yourself, and I'm going to put my foot in between her legs on her chair. You seem to have left
What is this in aid of?
You seem to have left a rip in the fabric of space and time on my ship, and I'd like you to close it.
No. When was this?
I slowly turn towards Antonio, and then I kind of look down at my blade. How much have you actually had to drink?
1 bottle.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I wasn't on your boat, I don't think.
You don't have a twin by any chance, do you?
My sister, yes, yes.
Ah,
My sister,
So
yes. Aha!
that makes more
This,
sense.
I see. I am not responsible for her actions,
But,
and I do not know whose boat she has been on. And if she has been making holes into the world between on your boats, that's
well,
not my job to fix them.
we may require your services.
right.
We'd offer payment.
Payment. Now I am listening.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Now you're willing to
Maybe.
fix the hole in my boat.
But yes, the hole's not really in the boat. It's more like the world's been ripped open and there's a hole through it.
I understand what a blessure is, sir.
Yeah, I don't. I just
Right.
see it as a big hole. So, well, depends on the services we could offer in return. I mean, myself, I'm a duelist, so should you require...
I don't need a duelist. I don't fight duels.
No, but you might get challenged.
If I get challenged to a duel, I
Or,
leave. I'm very good at leaving.
Yeah, so is your sister.
yes,
Oh, how is she? Who
We
is she
don't
working
know.
for these days?
some pirate or something, I think. Some ripped a hole in reality and left the ship. But there's nothing to worry about.
Does
So
not seem like
gold
Lucille's style.
is gold
Right.
an option, or what services? Is there anything you require?
do you need to go anywhere?
Gold? Or
As a
favors?
possibility? Yes, exactly.
Right.
How about services, or we settle it with gold after we've been to the Glamour Isles?
You're going to the Glamour Isles? There's gold there, is there?
Well,
Trade back and
It's where-
forth, yes, of course.
Do you have gold on you now? Like, leans forwards.
Enough
take
to
cash now?
survive.
Gold now? Or not yet? And this is your point. If you want to apply any pressures, you have got those razors in hand if you want.
Yeah, how much will it cost to kind of lean into her?
That'd be a raise.
Okay.
I'm quite happy with going the subtle route, basically. Offering, trying to find out what she needs, like what she needs rather than gold. Does she want to leave here, or
Yeah.
is she
Could I use
negotiate?
could I use one raise to kind of lean into her to show her that I'm ready to throw down, and then use another raise to create an opportunity for Antonio
Yes, you can.
to smooth it over with his manly bravado?
Okay. There is no need for a fight here. He looks around. I don't like it when you break things. Look.
We could owe you a favour or services required, and we'll settle in gold.
Who are you exactly? How much are your favors worth? Mr. Duelist?
Myself, Antonio de Aldana. I'm not sure whether you've heard of me as such, but I'm familiar with you. I believe you've worked for some associates of mine.
You're one of those.
Yes.
I see.
My word's good.
And you? Monsieur,
Mm.
what is it? I didn't get it.
I'm captain of the Starhopper, an Avalonian pirate hunter.
Avalonian, I see. Working for your queen, I suppose?
And the Grail, yes.
Oh, wonderful. But an Avalonish vessel with a capable crew of pirate hunters could be a valuable favor indeed. How about this? I come with you. I mend the hole in the boat that's got you so worried. And in return, when you come back from whatever you're doing in the Glamour Isles, you and your crew do a little favor for me and some friends of mine.
All right, let's go, and I'll grab her by the arm and pick her up.
Don't forget the bottle. I grabbed the bottle
I'm
with her.
coming.
All right,
I was settling my
That's it.
tab later.
we've had bad experiences with your people, so excuse me for being a bit trite.
You are
As you
in
sort of
a bit of a
drag her,
rush.
as you drag her away from the brazier, you see the innkeeper running out afterwards. Like, no, you go running off without paying again. You always do this.
Yeah. You and your sister have something in common about running away.
Look, I'm very good at it. So as you haul the woman whose name you've not asked yet
I'm going to try something
back,
slightly off. My character is very good at picking pockets. I'm not sure whether I'd be able to. No, it doesn't matter. Let's skip. No reason to
if you
complicate
want
it.
to try and pick a pocket, you
I was
can.
thinking of effectively trying to steal someone else's money as we're there and use that to settle her debt at the bar tab.
You've got
Effectively put it where she was.
2 razors is the difference from your approach.
It's a different approach, so that's what I mean. It's not worth complicating it. We'll just get going.
Bit risky. Yeah, let's get going.
Yep.
So you head off back to the boat. Meanwhile, back on the boat, Karsten and Einar have been busy helping with repairs. Other than patching holes in the boat left by the cannon fire last time, is there anything particular you two want to be doing, or you chatting to each other whilst you're working, or are you working independently?
Carson would probably be. He used the gift from the one of the crew to make his major unguents.
And for those who either don't understand major unguents or who weren't here last week to see the gift, what exactly is Carson doing, and what is this gift he has?
He's mixing body parts into a concoction that he can drink later to do cool shit.
Yes. You were gifted the head of someone.
Tongue and the eyes specifically.
Plucked out their eyes and cut out their tongue.
That's how you make ice cream.
Yes. It's ice and ice cream.
So yeah, you're busy there grinding up body parts. What's Einar doing?
Yeah, I imagine he's helping out with the repairs. He's very used to being on a boat, so he knows that this is kind of like part of the whole thing. Also trying to find ways to make himself useful after being talked to by the captain for his minor indiscretion of putting an axe through someone's forehead. And then once he's comfortable with like his part of the repairs, he's going to sharpen his axe because said splitting of skull has left it slightly dull, and so he needs to make sure it's battle ready.
Okay, so you're there sharpening your axe as you see Antonio and Finlay returning to the boat with that same Montaigne woman with them.
I think reflexively, Einar stands up with axe in hand and moves towards them rather spiritedly, but also I think a little reserved, just because it was just on his mind that he was talked to for just randomly killing somebody who had surrendered, and clearly this lady doesn't seem to be like an active combatant at this point, so he really wants to kill her, but is doing everything to restrain himself from putting an axe through her forehead.
Okay, so yeah, you approach the boat to see an angry-looking Einar. Well, a restrained-looking Einar, which is the same as an angry-looking Einar, I think.
I hold my hand up to him. It's all right. It's all right. This is her sister, if you can believe that. So, and then
Delaney.
So be aware that your sister has insulted my big Vestan friend there. So whatever sins she has accrued, he is more than willing to put them onto your head in her stead.
I am helping you here. Remember that.
Right. Right. I just want you I just want you to be aware of why there's a giant vested man coming in your direction with an axe in hand.
It's happened before.
Good.
Einar will back off a little bit, keeping his eyes on her, but then running his thumb over the edge of the blade, making sure that it's sharp, just in case.
Yeah, and we'll take her down to the pleasure.
And you take her down to the gun deck where there's just this rip through the air, the edge bleeding, this hole into this strange bloody darkness within. And Vivienne cocks her head to one side, looks at it. Ah, that is a nasty one. That is a nasty one.
Right. No shortage of baguettes or onions have been thrown at it, and it hasn't disappeared.
Of course. Look, there is only one way to mend a blessure, and it can only be mended from the other side.
Emotion.
I will go through. I
Very
will
well.
mend the hole.
Excellent.
How will you get back?
I have my ways. It's called magic. Sorcery.
So,
Pote.
another
whatever you want to
horror.
call it.
I'll leave
Sure.
that to the experts.
Sure, yeah.
But it will cost
just
me.
to rip
Doing this
holes.
Doing this is a cost to myself. Okay? I am literally spilling my blood in your service. So,
It's almost like you're asking for more than what we've established already
No.
as payment. All
I'm
right,
just
okay.
making it very clear that I will
All
be
right.
back to claim my due.
I was
Understand?
about to call Einar to remind him of, the insult that your sister pulled on him, but I'm glad that we've come to an agreement here.
By the way,
Yeah.
what is your sister's name?
Lucille Delaney.
Just for reference.
Yes, I would be careful. She hangs around with dangerous people.
She does. She does.
As do we. And we look at. I know. But, it's not worth getting in trouble when it's. There's no point looking for trouble.
No.
Let's deal with what we have.
I'll call out to Powder, just so that she sees a second Vestin. Powder, do we have any more wine that we can give our bleeding heart?
Not any good stuff.
I didn't ask for the good stuff. I just said there was wine.
Oh no! I think at that point, like Einar would bring like this like horn of mead, but it's like really really hard mead. Just because, even though it doesn't affect him, it's the closest he can get to getting some sort of a buzz. So if she wants something that's like real awful, this will be perfect.
Vespen moonshine.
And you
Vestin
see,
hooch.
Vivienne takes a swig. A bit rough, not bad.
Right. There you go. A little bit to send you on your way.
When you return to Arasson after your business, whatever it is, up north, you know where to find me?
Of course.
She points to Einar. Come join me for a drink sometime. It would be good to find someone who can keep up.
Einar, I think at that just gives her like a very wide smile, which could be misinterpreted, but he says nothing.
No.
All right. Well, good luck. And please try not to die before I can claim my half of this deal. I would be most disappointed.
I'll put that at the top of my list.
And she steps backwards through the gap. You see her reach out and bring the edges together.
Once it's closed, I'm going to just look at Einar. Einar, I'm not familiar with Montaigne women, but was that flirting?
I was just trying to get rid of stench of garlic. Send her away.
I'm sure it's a Montaigne thing to share a drink like that.
Yeah, I think you might be compromised to her.
It's pretty much like a marriage proposal.
I'll also elbow him as I walk up to the deck and see how the repairs are going.
Einar could use new salt wife.
What happened to the last one?
Einar, don't kiss and tell.
Ah, fair enough. Let's not to. At least that's closed and we can get on our way.
Yes, the doorway into the world betweens is closed, but you do owe an unspecified favour to unspecified people, which may or may not come into play much further down the line. We shall see. But with your boat repaired, your hold stocked, and no sorceress disasters on board that you know of. Oh, sorry. With
No,
one
at least one sorceress disaster
okay.
on board.
Maybe two. I suppose Finlay counts. Okay, with like less sorceress disasters on board, you set sail northwards, heading towards Inismore, and hopefully gold and glory. As you head out across the Avalon Strait, the weather gets a bit rougher, the wind through the straits, the boat rolling wildly from side to side as it makes its way across the channel. And the sort of air of excitement starts to build in the crew. You can hear whispers of sort of treasure and people making plans already about what they're going to spend their share on, of imagining how big this hoard might be, what could be in it, what they're going to use it for, and with every sort of whispered conversation you hear, it seems to get more and more exaggerated.
I'll start a counter whisper campaign between like Hannah and Powder and Karsten to just be like, keep your head down, keep your eyes on the prize, but don't get swallowed up in the promise of something that might not even exist.
Mm-hmm.
I think Antonio will be a bit concerned about the ship that had been following as well, to make sure it's not behind us. Just keeping an extra eye out for any ships that seem to match it.
You can't see it. No. You look out at the back of the boat, you can't see any pursuit behind you at this time. But you were being followed at one point, but that was halfway around the Montaigne coast. You've lost them by now, surely. Yeah, as you draw nearer, Antonio, you have a description of the island in question. You know the islands around it. You know this description of like the rough shape of the island and this particular formation of rocks that you're supposed to be looking out for, sort of on the entrance, on the approach up to this island that is off the north coast of Inismore, between Inismore and the Highland Marches.
I'll probably describe the information to Captain Finlay because he's an expert of these waters as we're travelling there.
Does that formation sound familiar?
You've sailed around these waters a lot, I presume, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You think you know the island he might be thinking of. But you also know that it's incredibly risky sailing to get in there. To get a large boat in close to the shore would be dangerous. You risk running the boat aground on numerous rocks in the channel leading up to the island. So you could either try this tricky bit of sailing to get your boat in, or leave the larger boat behind and take your smaller little
the dinghy
in to the shore. You know that the island. I don't think you've ever set foot on this island yourself. It's when you sail past and been round, because there's nothing really there apart from a difficult approach, a couple of sheep farmers, and an old silent ruin. It's also said to be haunted.
Okay.
Exactly who it's haunted by depends on the story. Some say it's the Sineth that built the ruin and disappeared long ago. Others say it's the crew of a boat that was shipwrecked on this island and slowly, one by one, succumbed to infighting and starvation until only one man was picked up from the island, ranting and raving mad, and the rest were left dead. But those could all just be
Mr.
stories.
Yeah, and I'll point out the where the island is supposed to be on the map to the three of them and Hannah. And be like, so what you're describing sounds like an island that should be right here. The few of us from Innis call it Cormac. It's not exactly the place that you want to go. So I starting to feel like there might be some truth to this. It's rough to get a ship around the waters. There's a lot of straits and a lot of jagged rocks that make the trip formidable. So I'm gonna have to trust the crew can stay behind and keep the ship safe, and we'll take the dinghy ashore. And I think for this, I don't want any harm to come to any of the crew, so I'm just gonna take Mr. Einar, Mr. Antonio, and Mr. Karsten here ashore. If all of you are good with that, I will warn you. There are stories, and they're mostly to keep people out of the island because it is dangerous. But there are ghost stories that have been passed down. So just be aware that there might be some kind of creature or animal that might be a man killer.
It's probably just wind charms in the trees making strange sounds or something.
Might be.
Well,
Keep
maybe a
assuming
large
that.
animal. Who knows?
You go on to
Einar,
Cursed Island and we stay here? You get all the fun, Captain.
If you want to come along and see
No,
how
it's fine.
see when it comes to getting the truth of the matter, you would rather stay on the ship. Like, I'm
What if our
trusting you to
friends from
keep
before turn
powder.
up?
I all of you are skilled salesmen and women, so I trust that you will protect the ship as best as possible. And I'll sidle up to her and I'll be like, Hannah, did you see what we did to that big montane monstrosity that
I
came
saw.
towards us?
My question was mostly if whoever was following us before turns up, do you want us to roll out the
Yes.
cannons or to run away?
No, I think prepare the ship for combat. If anything, make sure that the anchor is ready to go at a moment's notice. Um, the main problem that they're going to have is that they're in our waters now, so we know what to expect and we know how to outrun them and come about. And I trust you with the ship. You've been here almost as long as I have.
Of course you can trust me with the ship. What do you expect I'm going to do? Oh, wait. If you come back from this island, am I the captain now?
If I don't come back, I bestow upon you the title of captain, and I kind of just put my hand on both her shoulders like a sword.
On shore. No, I don't want
Yeah.
that responsibility.
Thank you for your concern, Hannah.
Good luck.
But, yep, everybody suit up, get your things.
Let us know if you need help hauling the treasure on board, if it's there, if it's even there.
Of course, you'll be the first to know.
All right, so just the four of you going ashore.
Mm-hmm.
And the four of you taking the boat. And as you draw nearer to the island that is your destination, there's a fog hanging over the sea, shrouding the island. You can just see the dark shapes of rocks looming out of the mist. This thick sea fog. And Starboard drops anchor, comes to a halt, some distance from the island, and informs you that it's too risky to get any closer. Ferdinand says the wind's going to pick up later, and we risk being blown onto the rocks if we try and get any closer. It's a fair row from here. Sure you're up for this?
Yep. No turning back now.
Good luck. Lower the boat. They bring down this little wooden dinghy launch, whatever the correct nautical terminology may be.
Yeah. As I'm about to descend, I'll sidle up to Powder and be like, "Listen, Powder, I've left Hannah in charge, and I've trusted her to take care of the ship, but we both know who cares more about the ship. So keep an eye on Hannah for me, and
If
make
Hannah
sure
tries
that
to steal the boat, do I push Hannah overboard?
you are allowed, and I'll do the same thing. I'll kind of like knight her with my hand. You're allowed to push Hannah off the boat if she decides to take over, but please don't let her sink my boat."
I will not let her sink your boat. Not
And then
even
I
if we
go,
get a different, better boat? No,
"Hannah,
no sinking the boat.
Powder, you saw what we did to that Montaigne ship, and that was a bigger ship. That was a bigger
Yes.
ship. I trust
Yeah.
this ship with my life," and I just kind of like rub the handrail. "I trust all of you with my life too. So take care of her."
She gives a nod. Yes. And so, unless anyone else has any business to address on board, you can climb down into the launch and head towards the shore.
For the record, I think for the entirety of the dinghy trip, um, the Einar will take both oars and do all of the rowing himself, mainly because after hearing all of this talk of man killers and monsters and stuff, Einar is eager for a fight. So this is how he's going to get his blood pumping, get his pregame reps in.
I like it.
Okay, so as the oars just swoosh into the water,
Yeah.
this sounds
Now,
very loud in the
obviously,
eerie, foggy silence.
and obviously any direction, since this is Finley's,
Yeah.
like he has the idea of what's going on. If he says, go slow, be quiet, or whatever, Einar is going to do whatever he says. But
Yeah.
Einar is basically trying to restrain himself from jumping overboard and trying to swim to fight something.
Yeah. Oh no, trust me. Like the second that I see the impulse you have, I just look up at Ferdinand and just like, "You seeing this? You seeing this? This is how it happens. This is how you row a dinghy."
As the dinghy speeds towards the shore through the fog, through these dark rocks, Antonio, you're remembering the story you were told. The formations of the rock. It was, look out for the large rock that looks like a crouching giant, and if you go to shore just beneath that, then follow the path up, and there should be an entrance into the ruins beneath an old oak tree, and that's down there is supposedly where the treasure is hidden. That's all you know from the story. There's an entrance beneath the old oak tree.
Yeah, I'll relay that information to everyone else in the dinghy as we're on our way to the shore. So I'm keeping an eye out for the formation.
All right. Shouldn't be too hard to find unless there's a whole copse of oak trees
Or giants.
or giants. Sure.
Don't worry about the giants.
Oh, we have one of our own.
Looks that way.
In the fog, it's hard to be completely sure of the rock formations. And you look around, and you're right up under it when you look up and see this rock looming above you that does look strikingly like a giant figure crouched down against the cliff face. This lumps, these masses of rock, and you see there its head, the line of its elbow, these big, dark, grey rocks looming out of the cliffside. You can see beneath it this shingle shore surrounded by cliffs and this narrow, winding path disappearing off into the fog up these sort of heather strewn grassy banks.
I almost imagine like as like we're rowing and Einar sees this rock formation that looks like a giant, his eyes sort of get big in this like childlike wonder because growing up he's heard all of these stories of giants and trolls and stuff, and he just sees us and he's just like, "Oh, Father, be praised."
This looks like it could be the place.
All right.
Some strange islands around here.
Einar, bring us in nice and slow, please.
Carson's going to
Yeah,
get
neither
towards
does.
the front. Should say Carson gets towards the front of the boat so we can get off first, so we can start looking for signs of anything,
Okay, signs of anything.
like
As the boat
broken
up closer to the
twigs,
shore.
footprints.
Yeah. I'll find a place to tie it off so it doesn't go away.
Yeah. Essentially, there's not really anything to tie it to. You just have to drag it up beyond the
Yeah.
tide line. You can clearly see this line of, sort of dried sticks and kelp marking the upper limits.
Then
No.
Antonio
Yeah.
will help with that bringing it to shore.
Yeah, I'll help Einar with that.
Well, I was going to say, if nothing, Einar could probably just pick up the dinghy and move it in enough.
Yeah, you can haul it enough. It rattles across the shingles. You can see, as I said, that the rest of the island seems shrouded in this fog. You can see the path winding up. Carsten, as you look around,
Mhm.
you can't see any footprints here, but you see something moving in the fog of the path. Shuffle of movements. You hear the sound of something moving through the heather. Something rustling, and then you hear an unmistakable sound carried through the depths of the fog.
Oh, fuck. Man-eating goats.
And you see the form of this sheep just picking its way across the bank, tugging at tufts of grass. Other than that, the island seems empty.
Einar looks at the goat and then looks at the captain. Your monster's smaller than promised.
Might be a baby. We don't know yet, so keep your eyes open.
Is this mist normal for these islands in this area?
Not particularly, but that's what makes it so hard to navigate around.
Could be something strange to do with the ruins and why this place was chosen to hide the treasure.
Might be. Mr. Heller, is this a dangerous goat, or can we circumnavigate it?
Circumnavigate it.
Carsten, you a goat expert, or is that like an area of study or
Oh,
livestock? I don't know. I don't.
Well, I am not as familiar with livestock as my montane neighbors.
That's true.
I do specialize in tracking and hunting the things that go bump in the night.
Oh.
Can we approach the sheep goat thing?
You can try. He's probably going to run away.
You move closer to the sheep, and as sheep are wont to do, it waits until you're a few meters away, then gives you this sheepish look of absolute panic and bolts off up the slope. And as it goes, you hear a few more echoed bleats in the fog as what sounds like a reasonably large group of sheep panic as one and head off into the fog.
Now, if I were a what's the word? A suspicious man, I would almost feel like that's enough sheep to sustain a family, perhaps two.
I'm more comfortable knowing there's things alive here.
Oh, why not? There's things alive everywhere.
It's possible that the good captain's treasure that we're tracking, they were left here when they arrived. They might have just
left to propagate.
Yeah.
Let's get
sheep.
All right. Just, be aware that sounded like enough to create a farm out of. So I'm going to draw my sword at that point. It's like, better safe than sorry.
Okay, sword out as you advance up this muddy, rocky path. It is a path, but as you make your way up it, you realise it's more of a sheep path, a goat path, than it is a human path. This is where they pick their way up and down from the seaweed on the shore up to the grass above. And as you make your way up, the fog is thicker here, and you can't see more than about 5 meters ahead of you as you head up this slope. Beyond that, it's just fog, and it deadens your footsteps, and occasional drip of cold fog drip onto the back of your neck as you make your way up. It's like blankets weighed down over this place.
Is it familiar? Is there from other things I may have hunted in the past, this type of oppressive fog? I have scholarship. I can make a scholarship roll if you want.
You would know fog is natural for this part of the world.
Correct.
But you also feel something. You've been in places that are haunted, places that are cursed. And there is something here, some presence there, waiting in the fog. And as all the four of you make your way up this path, you can hear your footsteps muffled by the fog, but you can hear other footsteps too within the fog. And every now and then you see a slight ripple, tendril of the fog that seems thicker or denser than the rest. There is something here, Carsten. You can't see it, but you know it's there.
I relay this suspicion to the crew. Not suspicion, I know something's there, I just don't know what it is yet.
I think I'll probably draw my weapons at this point once I've had that confirmation there's something there. Not that they'll do much good, but they'll make me feel happier.
Yeah,
Einar had his axe in his hand the entire time. Like now that he's gotten confirmation that something is here, like I imagine Einar has heard like, Vestin like ghost stories and stuff, and just like the overall vibe, but then the confirmation, he wants to fight something.
I'm just gonna prime my gun.
So so if I've heard things moving, are there other tracks on the ground?
There are no tracks on the ground.
Okay.
There are no foots apart from like little hoof prints. There are no tracks you can see on the ground. Just out of the corner of your eye, you see almost a flicker of movement in the fog. Just behind you, the side, something moving within this bank of fog.
So I hear things, but I don't see evidence of things moving, i.e. tracks.
No.
And I'm saying this out loud as I'm kind of looking and thinking to the cast.
Einar will take that as sort of a cue, like as they're walking, to stay like close to the group, but also sort of turn and watch the area behind them. So there's at least eyes kind of looking in all directions.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty much Antonia's idea as well, is to make sure we're checking every direction, just keeping an eye out, basically.
You're doing that sort of turn and walk thing where you keep sort of turning back, like looking around, like.
Yeah, being cautious and staying as a group. I think staying close together, especially considering the lack of vision in this area.
Yeah, like since I don't know what it is, I mean, I can't rule out that it's something just trying to scare us off, which doesn't mean it isn't dangerous.
Could just be fog.
Oh no, there's something out there. I'd bet your share of the treasure on it.
No, I don't think I'll bet that.
But saying that something is out there trying to scare us off says it means to me that it's intelligent of some kind,
Correct.
and that in and of itself is dangerous.
100%.
As you make your way, sort of looking around, right in the back of your head, you can see ahead of you a shape looming in the fog, the dark, twisted branches, and the shadow of a tree just visible coming into view in the fog. And as this comes into view, you can feel the fog almost seem to press in around you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of you, let's say, I know, you feel the cold brush of fingertips on the back of your neck.
I imagine, like, as they're walking, Einar would have been more toward the back. So if he was walking, looking backwards, he would spin around and look to the three of them as like, who touched me?
Ah, shit. I think at this point I'm gonna drink my Ghost Eyes Unguent.
Okay, so you pull out your little concoction. This one's dead man's eyes and any
Yes.
other nice, tasty things in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just unstopper this concoction and
Mm-hmm.
I probably don't want to know what's in that.
as
No one
you
can be assertive, that, sir.
Yeah, no one
as
touched you.
drink it, you can see the figures crowding in around you. They're
Mm-mm.
wearing the tattered remains of clothing, probably at least sort of 200 years old at this point. Sort of tattered, ragged remains. Their cheeks sunken and half starved, their fingernails ragged, their faces wild and hungry as they're pressing in and crowding in closer around you out of the fog. There are ghosts here. And you see them reaching out, trying to snatch hold of Einar.
So, how much would you be willing to know about this place? I say to the crew. How much is too much information?
I mean, we need to know what we're going into, don't we?
Well, in that case, we are quite surrounded by the spirits of former inhabitants of this island.
And you can see that just by drinking that little potion of yours.
We have our tricks.
Spirits, but are they harmless?
I do not know.
Can they be harmed?
Not easily. They are spirits. They seem more interested in teasing at the moment, at least.
That's a good.
Do they seem attached to anything?
That's a good question. I will. Do they? Are they around us? Or they are like circling the tree?
Crowding in around you. You seem to be drawing their attention as they press in and crowd in around you. You can
They seem to be good.
Numb cold starting to seep into your bones. More of them gather round.
Since the player is dumb, can I use scholarship to try to get some information on how the heck to deal with this stuff?
I mean, you are
or is it something I would know as a
of monsters? This is your stock and trade. Let me see what you've got in the terms of what you actually have in your Unguents and selections right now. Do you have anything that would help with this? These are seemingly ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
This hunger for life, but you don't know what exactly it is they're wanting from you.
Do I feel like they could cause us damage or any harm, or they
I will
just?
say that yes, they're definitely affecting you.
Mhm,
Mechanically,
mhm.
they're going to be taking away dice. If you're trying to do
Understood.
anything whilst they're around, you're going to be taking away dice. In fact, what they appear to be doing is draining the life from you. As the more that they're leeching, and the rest of you, as this is going on, you can't see them the way Carsten was seeing them. You can start to see flickers of these shapes. They seem to be growing more substantial as time passes by.
Hmm.
As they draw life and strength from you, they seem stronger, more substantial. You can see now these shadowy forms in the fog
Oh, interesting.
gathered around you.
So, Mr. Einar, they appear to be becoming more corporeal, which means physical.
I was gonna. Can Einar start to see them
You can
at a
see
point?
them now. You can see them reaching out, clawing, whispering.
I think we need to get a move on here and leave this place as soon as we can. But let's get the treasure and go.
Right.
Press on.
So you're pressing on with the goat. They're following you. They're with you.
Yeah.
Growing more substantial by the moment.
Mr. Heller, is there anything that you can do
Towards this
about
dark shape of the tree?
keeping them at a distance from us?
Unfortunately,
Einar is gonna move towards the tree and then take a gigantic swing at the tree with his axe.
Okay. You're just going for the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, your axe hits the tree, yes.
Okay. Like he's
Your
gonna.
axe just hits the ancient oak. It's solid, sort of ancient oak tree.
Do
Stood
they
here
seem?
for hundreds of years.
Is there any
All I hear is challenge. The Do they seem at all like
They don't
from?
seem concerned about the tree.
Okay. At
They seem
which
more
case,
interested in
then yeah,
you.
then Einar will stop if there's no um like if they don't seem like the tree is a concern, then he'll stop and then just kind of like look back to the captain. Um
Yeah.
Forward or fight.
Yeah, as Einar stepped up to this tree, you can see this dark shape of this tree, its roots knotted and tangled over these stones, blocks, remains of ruins, and you can see what seems to be a small entrance in the stonework. This is something someone would have to crawl to get into. This little dark hole beneath the tree. But as you can see these shadowy forms sort of still wreathing and writhing around you. It's up to you what you do here.
Yeah, Einar will call out, there is path beneath tree.
oh,
And are they corporeal enough for you to push? Can you affect them?
You want to try and push one?
Oh, I mean, Einar is at the like yeah. If they look solid enough, Einar will try to put an axe through one of them.
Okay, so you swing and the axe. There is something with some solidity in there. As your axe swings through this misty form, you feel definitely there is some resistance in the air, and it lets out this ear-splitting shriek that I will not attempt to replicate for the sake of everyone's poor ears. This rasping, shrieking cry, and they descend upon you. And as they descend and move in upon you, I'm going to ask what your approach is here. What the hell are you doing? You've angered the ghosts. You swung an axe at them.
No. Time to defend Einar.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, Einar's gonna do what Einar does and just try to rip and tear.
Okay. Pick your approach. Roll your dice. It's still 10. Still 10 today for now.
No. So I'm gonna focus on the sword. That would be weaponry, but I can still use like one of my raises to shoot without the extra cost. Because that's part of the same kind of like combat style.
Okay. What approach are you going for here then? That's
I'm gonna try to defend Einar as best as possible. So using my sword and gun as precise as I can to not hit him.
okay. So, which actual skills and talents, skills and traits and the skills?
I think weaponry and finesse is gonna do
Weaponry
it.
and finesse. All right. Get rolling. Add up your raises. Does anyone else know what approach they want to take already?
I'm gonna go for brawn and brawl. Because yeah, it just now that there's some
and you
sort
are
of
all
physical.
missing one die. Sorry. Take away one die.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Carson's going to. They're not all around Einar, right? They're around all of us, so I can attack a
Around all
section
of
that.
you. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so
say there's one bunch up around Einar and one bunch down around the rest of you. Let's call it two bunches of ghosts. That's not
bunch
the correct-
squads.
Two
ghosts.
squads.
Yeah.
I don't
Doesn't seem right for incorporeal ghosts, but yes. Two lots of
mechanically, are they brute squads?
mechanically, yes.
Okay. That's important.
I know
Mhm.
it is. They're mechanically
Yes.
brute squads.
So I think I'm just going to do brawn and weaponry.
Okay. -1 die. And Antonio?
I'm pretty much just going to be like a whirling dervish. Is the best way to put it. It's more finesse than weaponry, so sword and offhand dagger, and pretty much cutting the shapes as much as he can. Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Trying to look as swashbuckling and suave as I can. And that's 5 raises from me.
Okay,
And-
5 raises from Antonio.
And sorry, to be clear, since this is the first time I'm doing this type of action, I get 1 die, right?
Mhm.
So that cancels out the negative. Just asking mechanically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Let me just roll that. Mm. And
Okay.
I get an automatic 10 on one of those at least, because so 3. I get 3 on that.
So 3 raises for
Mm.
Karsten. Finlay.
That's a very good point, because I used finesse to get an automatic 10. I forgot that, so it will be 6.
6 raises for Antonio. That's too many raises.
Mm-hmm.
I looks like I got 10. 10 is 20. 31. Then yeah, it looks like I got 4. I tried to reroll with my sorcery, but I got lower.
4 for Finlay. Okay.
So 4.
And Einar.
4.
4. Okay. So, Antonio, you are at first as the ghost, the shriek descend upon you, trying to claw and scratch and maim and bring you down with them. What are you doing?
Pretty much, as I said, a whirling dervish, pretty much actually just slashing into the shapes, basically, trying to disrupt their shape as much as I can. It's like, I'm assuming they'd look like mist-like human forms, so I'm just laying into to disrupt those shapes as much as I can to make it difficult for them to take shape, take form.
Okay, so mechanically, this is you attacking a brute squad. So how many raises are you doing here, and how much damage are you dealing?
Well, if I do it as a slash, that's 3 damage.
Does that have to be to a single target, or can that be done essentially across, like, 3 different people in a brute squad?
I don't know, is the honest answer, to be fair.
I mean, if this is dueling, I'd say that's...
It's a dueling maneuver, so that would be more to a single person. But I'm trying to think, that's 6 raises. I'll spend, I don't know, if I spend 1 will take to do damage. How's damage work out? It's equal to my weaponry, is it? Or
No.
It's 1 damage per raise, period, unless you have a maneuver like your slash that does a set
Yeah.
amount of damage, and then it's that damage plus 1 more for each raise.
Okay.
Yes.
And,
Yes, you can use dueling moves on a brute squad. Yes.
okay, I'll just use the slash,
Yeah.
but I'll also use 2 further raises to increase it to 5 damage.
5 damage. Can you do that?
I don't know. Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this whirling dervish just slicing and dicing your way through these goats. How many raises? Ghosts, not goats.
Goats. So I was going to spend 2 additional raises.
Okay, so that takes you down to 3.
3, yeah. And that's 5 damage.
You're just out splitting apart. Carsten, you can see this more clearly. Your eyes, you can see as he just his blade is ripping through these things, and as it tears and slices through these ghostly forms. I mean, this is not quite like fighting against real, substantial creatures. These are only partially here, only partially in this world. And as the gamekeeper closes the page of the book that was very useful that she should have been looking at.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Rookie mistakes.
Yep. I'm just glad that these guys don't have a fear rating.
No, I'm waiting that for later. I thought it was
Course.
being playing fear and also they're sapping your strength to grow themselves.
Mm. So generous.
I know, I'm so nice. No, I think for these guys that is enough. You slice, and for now, they're gone into the fog. This brings us to Einar and Finlay. You're both on 4. Which one of you wants to go first?
I'll let Einar go
Einar's up there
first.
with the gang.
Yep.
Yeah. So I am going to I am going to pretty much like tear into these things. Yeah, so he's just gonna like not quite go into like a barbarian rage, but just like lash out and just try and slash at as many of them as he can in this. Yeah.
Okay, so do you, as many of them as you can, is that just using 4 razors to do the total of 4 wounds?
Yeah.
Or is there?
Yeah.
Okay. You're slicing down. There is still 1 of them left. There's 1 ghostly form up by the oak tree. And as you see, as Einos acts just through the others, this last ghostly one opens its mouth, and you can't hear what it's saying. It's just this whispery noise lost in the fog, but it seems to be trying to say something. Finlay, your turn.
How many are around the rest of us? Because it looks like Einar took care of the ones.
Antonio took care of those ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Antonio took care of a group and Einar killed all but 1 in his group.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will use my raises to try to create opportunities for everybody, especially Karsten, since he's the one that deals with these kinds of monsters, to see if he can make heads or tails of what it's trying to say to us.
Whenever he gets my turn. Yeah. So am I up now or no?
It's you. Yeah.
It's me. Okay. So then if I can see that one left and he's trying to talk, do I have a better idea of what it's trying to say?
You currently know.
Mm-hmm.
You do know how to talk to dead people.
Fair enough. Actually, I do know how to talk to dead people. I'll be able to use a raise to drink my other engine.
Second horrible body part concoction
Oh God, this
goes
is a human tongue in nightshade. It's probably not very good.
Oh, yeah. A little bit poisonous, a little
What's
bit
that?
cannibalistic.
Yep. Visit
And
Ison, everybody.
has his
Hey.
I don't know, pupils, can't remember which one of my nightshade, pupils dilate a little as this nightshade hits your bloodstream,
Mhm.
and the words that it's saying becomes clear.
Mhm.
Run! Get out of here! Or you will join us. It lurks below. It lurks below.
I will relay that to the team.
In the dark place where people go to hide things. It lurks there. Run
We'll
while
see.
you can.
I
Born
just
trespasser.
So you
I just
can
look at Einar. Yeah, that's a I don't understand how you can do that, but I also don't understand how I do my things. So, but I'm gonna look at Einar. It whatever it is talking about. Do you feel up for a challenge, or do you think we should turn on?
Always up for challenge.
Alright.
That
Just
was a
wanted to
good
make sure
story.
you
This
are the
is
biggest one
how
here.
stories. This is how stories get told.
All right. I just want to be honest and say that you are the biggest one here, so you would be the one that I throw at it, whatever it is, first.
Like fastball special.
That must be a Western thing, sure.
It's game we play.
All right.
As you say
And
this, the last of the ghosts just
yeah, I'll thank it.
pass
It does look
away.
like it was trying to scare us off.
Well,
Strange way to scare off by trying to suck life.
If we're dead, we're scared off.
Maybe it's just trying to survive in the only way it can.
right. I'll be sure to include this in all of my notes that I send to the college when I'm done with this excavation.
Which college is that? Didn't know.
None, because that was called sarcasm.
Really?
So
I'm not very good with sarcasm. You may have
right.
realised that.
No, I've jotted that down in my notebook.
Same with irony. The only irony I know is my sword. And that's a steal.
Right. You have irony over here, and you have an accident over there. Perfect. Down the tree we go.
Okay. So, you see this small, dark hole into ancient ruins beneath the tree. And one by one, you descend into the darkness, where whatever it
Since
is.
since
Yes?
it seems particularly dangerous, Einar will crawl through first.
Okay, Einar's going first as you crawl through into
Not
the
sure it'll
darkness.
make any difference, but Einar's large, isn't he?
And as you do so, as you crawl through quite slowly and with a lot of squeezing, that is going to be where we go to break. And we'll be back in approximately 10 minutes' time. See you soon. And we are back. So, as you have fought off a horde of life-hungry remnants of previous inhabitants of this island, and one by one you descend into the dark of an entrance into an old ruin, overgrown and buried beneath this old oak tree. You can just see this small, dark entrance in the stone. It's a tight squeeze, especially for Einar to get through. You're wriggling sort of hands and knees through this small dark passage. You can't see anything. You can only feel your way ahead of you. It's pitch black down here. As you feel your way over the stones, suddenly you feel the ground sort of giving out in front of you, and it sort of slide and slither your way down this muddy, rocky slope until your hands strike solid stone at the bottom. It feels almost like pavers, but you can't see anything. It is black down here. So I know your hands hit the stone at the bottom of this slope. You can hear the others following you back down this tunnel. But you can't see anything. What are you doing, Einar?
Did somebody bring torch?
As we catch up, I'm sure I have one. So
Yeah, just like sparks flying, you're trying to catch a torch.
Mhm.
We didn't even use the gunpowder from any pistols we got.
Yeah. There's a bit of gunpowder, there's a spark of light, and the torch catches, and flame flickers to life and illuminates this space around you. You can see the dark entrance where you came in, sort of about halfway up the wall of this space, and then this sort of muddy, rocky slope of just rock and mud that slid down into this larger room that you're in. This is part of some sort of half-collapsed ruin. You can see stone pillars rising up. You can see this paved floor space. You can see the wall on one side half collapsed downwards. You can see another darker entrance far off the far end of the room. And you can see the floor ahead of you littered with bones. Old, ragged looking bones. Some of them wearing the scraps and remnants of clothing about 200 years before your time. Ragged and ruined down here. You reckon there's probably at least 10 of them there?
Mr. Heller, do you believe this might be the bodies of the
I
guests?
believe you are. I would. I'm inclined to agree. The numbers seem to match up, and the age seems to match up.
Does there seem to be any obvious injuries on these? Like bones broken or bite?
I mean, they're very old bones by this point. This is
just look old.
Scattered and remnants. You look down, easily yellowed, decayed bones. Some sort of broken in places.
Einar, could you do me a favor and gather them up over here by? I'd like to give them a proper burial once we find whatever's down here. They deserve at least that.
That's a very good point. Even the dead deserve to rest.
Right.
Yeah, Einar will start collecting the bones, kind of like trying to look around, see if there's anything else.
And so there's another sort of dark entrance off the far end of here. Einar's gathering up the bones. What is everyone else doing in this moment?
As I'm observing him, I want to see if I can tell whatever damage it did to those bones.
I'm just looking for tracks. I'm not a tracker, but I'll have a look.
Something ripped and tore up them. Something like here and there in the bones, you find like just arm bones far away from the rest of a torso.
I was gonna say, I almost imagine, and tell me if I'm wrong, but almost like the bones had been like cracked open and something's trying to get like the marrow from inside, like animals will tend to do.
It doesn't look like animals, no.
I'll probably have a look at the ceiling.
There's no bite marks. There's no cracking of them to get the marrow. This does not look like an animal did this.
Does that seem familiar?
I don't know what you've encountered in your time in Iceland, but you get the sense, looking at these bones, whatever this is, I mean, if it was an animal, it would be long dead. It wouldn't be here anymore.
Hmm.
This is not a natural thing if it's still down here. Maybe it's not still down here. Maybe it's long dead. Just a bear passed through 200 years ago.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Don't they have bears in Inismore, don't
Yeah,
Sure. And small bears.
yeah, small bears.
The kind that Einar
Um,
will keep as a pet.
Yeah.
Drop
they?
bears.
Yeah. So Antonio was looking for tracks, right? Is
I
that
was
what you
just
were
seeing if
looking
there's
for?
any evidence of footsteps.
There is. You can see through these bones, tracking through these bones, there are like footprints. Places where like almost a path has been cleared. Looks like something has been dragged through these bones, clearing a path towards this dark entrance at the far end.
Is there dust on that, or is it new?
There's not really anything much to call full dust here. Like
Okay.
it's more the debris and the bones have been cleared. It's not like clean path. It's just the debris and the bones have been cleared away. So you've got this
Okay.
bone-strewn floor that now Einar is busy piling up the bones. You've got this path through the bones, this dark
Mhm.
entrance at the far end. You've got the hole where you came in. You've got the rest of this half-collapsed, crumbling ruin. Like one side of the room falling down. There's other sort of cracks and entrances up higher up in the ceiling. Yeah, Antonio, you can see this clear path leads to this dark hole. This
I'll probably
entrance.
point out the trail. It looks like drag marks or something here. Could be a tail.
It looks wider than that, like some not like a tail. It's like something like this is something heavy, perhaps was dragged through here. It's like almost
Like
scratch
dragged a body
marks.
off.
Like scratch marks, like something had corners that was dragged this way.
Like a chest.
At least we know which
chest.
way it went.
Is there any extra wood lying around?
There might be roots from above, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll take some
maybe
roots
a couple of
and
roots of
some.
a tree.
I'll take some roots and some cloth and make makeshift torches so everybody has one at least,
Yeah.
or the option for one.
Might
Yeah,
be just making a small fire out here.
Since it's man-made, are there like sconces on the wall that we can light?
There's not sconces remaining after so long now.
Okay.
But if you want to like wedge a torch in a crack in the stone, you could totally do that.
Okay. I don't think we have enough to do that, but yeah.
I mean, we'll do one for where the bodies are, so we know to come back for them.
Correct.
But I just want to make sure that I have a light, so that Carson's not the only one with a light, just in case there's like a strong wind, or I get taken or Carson gets taken.
That is a perfectly reasonable.
That does seem
never be the only
reasonable.
one carrying a torch.
The air and a spare.
I think I'll probably use one in my offhand rather than a fan dagger. Just means I can't use like duelist techniques as such, but it means I've got a torch and a sword.
Is there any of their clothing left? Like, or is it all just?
Yeah, there's like essentially ragged bits of cloth.
Is there any sort of I'm gonna say the wrong word, but any sort of like indication of allegiance, former allegiance?
This clothing style
of clothing as such. Yeah.
Probably somewhere in the Glamour Isles. Just to clarify, that these people's bodies are a lot older than the treasure was hidden here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever these people were who died here a long time ago.
Yeah, they were probably here. Whatever killed them was here when the treasure was here.
Yeah. Right. So we have a hole in the earth that we can go down. I think
more of a tunnel. Like this one is sort of proper built. This is a corridor. This is a stone entrance. You can see these scratched drag marks in the floor.
Does it look Avalonian in design as far as the architecture is concerned, or is this like?
No.
All right.
This is old. This is ancient. This is from times long before.
You see the angles here. This doesn't look Avalonian at all.
This is I'm going to get my pronunciations all wrong.
Cerneth.
Cerneth. Thank you. There's a Cerneth.
Cerneth, we're all over the place.
All right.
Well, besides the treasure, there might be something else valuable down here as well.
for sure. The site itself is valuable.
It's true. Let's focus.
Yeah.
Use these
No,
optional mission objectives.
We've already encountered one form of opposition. Let's not get lax, and I'll draw my sword again.
And honestly, this one seems like it might be more dangerous.
Who's at the front and who's at the back?
Einar
Also,
will
who's in the
go.
middle, but most importantly, who's at the front?
I promised Einar to be thrown at first, so I'm not going to be alive.
Yeah.
So if he wants a torch, we
Einar.
can.
Well, so I figure Einar would have in his offhand a torch, not necessarily lit right now, but worst case, it's a club.
Yeah.
In his offhand, and then he's got his axe in his main hand. But yeah, he'll definitely take the front again, just because if there's something down here, one, he wants to fight it, but two, be the one to kind of like take the first hit if something jumps out.
Okay, Einar at the front, and who is at the back?
I think I'll take up the rear.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Karsten will probably be second because he's
Carson.
sort of things.
Yep. That was my
Carson dealt
suggestion.
with this.
I'm going to be honest, as with usual with like marching orders, it only really matters who's at the back and who's at the front.
Correct.
As you always say, one person falls down the pit and one person gets picked up.
You clearly don't use enough AoE. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So
The
that's
middle matters immensely.
So as you head, you take a few steps down this corridor out of the main chamber, down this side corridor, following this scratched trail in the ground. Two things happen at once. One, Finlay, you hear a sound behind you from the main chamber that you're just leaving. Did you leave a torch back behind there? Or is it?
We did over the bodies.
We did.
Yes, you did. So you hear a sound behind you, a kind of movement, a noise and a scrape of something against stone. And do you look back?
Yeah. Did you hear that, boys?
As you look back, you see in the shadow cast by this torch flickering the pile of bones, you see from one of the holes further at the wall, something crawling out of the crack in the wall, crawl its way across the ceiling.
Mr. Heller, what the fuck is that?
That is the thing of nightmares.
As the thing of nightmare starts crawling out of the crack in the wall, Einar, at the head of this group, you make your way down this tunnel, the unlit torch in your hand and the axe in the other. Your foot catches against something. And you look down and you see a rope stretched from side to side across the passageway. And as your foot just catches, you hear a little like snap of a pin and a little which sounds like a burning fuse. And you just see a little ahead of you where this rope is tagged, a little sparking rip, like a little length of, forgotten the word for that gunpowder rope thing.
Fuse.
Or
Fuse.
powder.
Gunpowder, yeah, fuse. It's a simple word. Towards, in this, just ahead of you and slightly to the right, the shadows part of this corridor, a barrel that someone has placed here. And the fuse is burning towards the barrel. Einar, what are you doing?
Einar wants to try to cut the fuse.
Okay. This will be a risk.
That's fine.
I think it will be well, what approach are you taking here? It's going to be a let's say a raise to cut the fuse.
Okay.
Before it explodes an entire barrel of gunpowder, but you will have to essentially dive forwards and end up
Yeah,
injuring
yeah.
yourself partly to do this. Unless you've got more razors, that would be a consequence. There's an opportunity here to rise up from this with a barrel of gunpowder in your hand if you think that's useful. Undamaged gunpowder might be useful.
So
What
I
approach are you
think
taking?
just because it'll be more interesting, uh, wits and athletics, just to see it, just like him having like the spark of idea and trying to act fast enough to stop it.
Okay, so you think quick.
Yeah, and
Yes.
then react quick with that thought.
Okay. Think fast. How many razors have you got?
I will tell you in a second. Wits, athletics, and then because this is the first time, I give it to roll one more. 3.
3. So that is enough to slice the fuse, to roll forwards and emerge holding barrel of gunpowder without taking damage. And as you succeed in not getting everyone blown up in this ancient trap, well, not ancient, a few years old, this trap, in this old trap, you turn out as a gallon gunpowder in hands. What is everyone else doing, having heard Finlay's warning about the thing behind?
Wait, so to
Crawling.
be fair, I don't know that Einar's first instinct would have been to hold on to the barrel of gunpowder. It would have
Right.
been more so just cutting the fuse
Yeah.
and then turning to try and face the other direction because he knows there's something
Yeah.
scary in that
In which case,
direction.
you've got a barrel of gunpowder for later, should you need it.
Okay.
I think Antonio, because he would have been closest to Finley, would have turned around straight away to have a look at whatever this creature is coming towards us. What does it look like? Just a reptile or slime or?
As it comes crawling out of this gap in the wall, this ragged sort of shape clawing across the field. It almost looks more like a beast than anything else. This half like wolf-like creature, woven of shadow and darkness. This is something that
Creature of nightmares.
you have never encountered. This monstrous, nightmarish creature. It looks like you see these two red eyes glowing in the depths of this, like it's almost like a wolf's skull, but more skull-like than a dog's head. This dark, shadowy form woven around it with these glowing ember-like eyes, and it just sends this cold fear into your bones. And
So this is an undead monster then.
this is an undead monster. Yes.
Got it.
Just to
Your
make that
rating.
very clear. This is an undead monster.
Mhm.
And unless you have something against it, this monster has 2 ranks in fear. Now, some of you, if either of you have the virtues like comforting or courageous, I think they can do something in this case. Or if you have certain elements of hexenwerk or glamour that can be used in these circumstances, so maybe check your
Question.
abilities if you have either of those. Otherwise, with 2 ranks of fear, you will be losing 2 dice.
Okay. Do we have a chance to do something before we start rolling, or is it not? Is it?
This is essentially, well, my question to you. What approach are you taking? What are you doing?
The second he understands that this is an undead monster, he's going to take out the next 2 things, his other 2 minor engines, and down those. Well,
Okay,
one down
so
one and use the other one.
my main question is, what is your approach?
Ah.
This is going to affect how many
Yep.
razors you have, what order things go in,
Mhm.
and
I think
Real quick,
Finley's
because
probably
I'm
the
assuming
closest
this is this.
sorry, 2 people spoke at once.
That's okay.
What
You
were you
first,
asking?
Bud.
I was just gonna say, I'm assuming this is happening while Einar did his
This is what
cut
you
the
turn
fuse
around. This is
thing.
what you see, having dealt with this.
Okay. Does Indomitable Will give me anything? If something attempts to intimidate, seduce, or otherwise goad.
No, I don't think so. That's not what it's.
No, it's not
Not in
trying to control you or manipulate you in any way. So
Well,
This
I
is
mean,
just,
it's.
this is
I
not
would argue
essentially. It's
it's.
not applying pressure to you. This is the fear effect. I don't think those things that particular works against that. In that it's not mentioned in my little red box of things that work against fear. So I'm going to say
That's fair.
no.
Yeah. Fear is a supernatural ability that some monsters have. So unless you have something inherently from your homeland that gives you a bonus, you just suck it up.
I'll basically see what Finley does because he's the closest one to it, and depending on his reaction, it'll be my approach.
Okay, what approach are you taking, Finley? You are the closest.
I unfortunately I am a representative of the Glamour Isles. I'm in the mantle of Wolfrod the Bold, and true to his name, I have to protect the rest of my crew. So I'm going to dash forward and use the torch to try to kind of blind it. So I lead with the torch out, but I'm coming in right with the sword as well. Because if it moves, that means it's real, and if it's real, it can be hurt.
And you know what? I am going to change a danger point. I think this is a dangerous and dark situation.
Oh, good, good.
I'm
Good.
raising the difficulty of getting razors here. I'm making it 15. Because I have danger points.
Okay.
Just if that influences anything people doing.
Sure.
You're already charging forward. Wolf from the Bold. Roll. I don't know. Does the fear apply to you, or does your glamour?
It does.
Okay.
My glamour doesn't do anything to protect me.
I think in which case Antonio probably, he has throwing daggers on his person. It has 2 eyes. He's going to try and put a pair of throwing daggers into its eyes.
Okay.
So I'm
It
guessing
sounds like finesse.
finesse and aim probably not my
Yeah.
best points, but aim's not my best one, but finesse is. So I'll go with that.
Okay.
It's
Arastus.
-2 dice, wasn't it, as well?
Yes, it was -2 dice.
Oh,
And the difficulty of
I'd say
15.
+1 because of first time of using that. I don't know. Is it the first time of using a trait or a skill you get the +1?
Yep.
It's
First time using the
scene.
skill.
Ah, okay, so
Yeah.
it'll be a -2, but +1.
Okay, Carsten, what's your approach here? Sounds like you're downing some things and.
Yeah, it's basically dealing with these things is 75% preparation. So I need to start preparing, which is drink 1 potion, and I'm going to use another one as it's for the blade of his war sword.
So your plan is to down these potions and then sort of charge in. So your approach, essentially, mechanically, what would your approach be here?
Yeah, I mean that is the general. I prepare and then attack. That's the approach.
What would you like to roll?
Let's see.
We've got. It could be resolve or wits, maybe, in preparation, and either weaponry.
Yeah, weaponry and. I mean, drinking. I don't think. Yeah, I would say weaponry and brawn probably just for the attack, because the other thing is just drinking a potion. It's not necessarily.
So yeah, your plan is to drink and charge in. So yeah, weaponry and brawn.
Yep.
Okay. And Ida, what was your approach you're taking here? Challenges and riddles in the dark? A nice drinking game? Or charge in and try and hack its head off? You're muted, Einar. Einar, Brad, you're
Great.
muted.
You pull the bend.
Sorry, yeah, he's ripping and tearing.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 2.
So 2 raises for Karsten.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have more than 5?
Antonia's just got the 2 due to needing 15 per raise.
Well,
Yeah, I've only got 2.
Yeah, I got 1.
yeah. Okay. So those of you with 2, I'm good. Which one of you would like to go first? Actually, no, wait. Why am I even asking this question?
Has it gone first? Or
I'm going first.
Correct.
I was going to
I
say,
have more razors here.
actually, I would like to interrupt you. I'd like to use adaptable to go first.
Oh, I suppose you
It's my
can.
virtue allows me
Yeah.
to go first. I mean, normally it doesn't matter because I'm quite quick anyway, but on this occasion, I think it's probably a good idea for me to
Oh,
go
yeah,
first.
I was definitely going first there.
I know, because you're going first, I'm using my virtue, which I can use
Okay.
once per session. So I'll go first with my 2 races. I'm trying to put a pair of throwing daggers in its eyes, basically. I'm trying to, or at least one of its eyes.
Okay. So your aim is to you're trying to like cause some damage and also
I'm trying to restrict it because I'm hoping if it cannot see, then I don't know.
I
I
would
don't fight
say
monsters.
like essentially you're doing damage here. You've got 2 razors. Unless you've got anything special here, you can do 2 damage to it, I believe, here.
Okay,
And
I'll go with
but I
that.
will say if you wanted to actually impair its vision rather than just hit it anywhere, that would be an additional raise.
So, would you say instead of doing any damage at all, I could restrict its vision, or
I'll say you can do 1 damage and partially restrict its vision with the 1 raise plus 1 raise,
or could I fully
or do
restrict
2
its
damage. Well, you can't really restrict its
Take
vision
both
without
eyes.
hitting it.
No, it's okay. I understand. I'll
If you're
go with
if you're throwing like a knife at it, I'm going to say like
I'll go with the 1 damage and partially restrict its vision.
okay. It lets up this pain noise and starts scampering towards you. like moving. It seems to have too many joints in its limbs. It's down along the ceiling and down the wall towards Finlay. You are at the front. So as it like bunches its muscles and leaps onto you. And yeah, essentially, it's gonna try and just rip and tear into you.
Sure.
And it is not a monster squad, luckily for you.
Yep.
But it is.
Yes.
It is only one of them, and it hadn't done all its dice. Okay. It is going to inflict 4 wounds unless you can do anything about it.
I cannot.
Just tears across you, like ripping and slashing at flesh.
Yep. I will try to hold it in, but I'll probably groan in pain.
Sort of a bunch of muscles crouching. As Karsten and Einar, it's your turn.
Okay. Karsten, first thing he does is he drinks Spring's Laugh. Spring's Laugh makes him immune to undead monsters' fear rating for 1 scene.
Okay. So, next time you roll, you won't have
Yes.
a penalty.
Won't have a penalty.
You feel. So that's 1 raise to drink as the fear.
And
Fear
then
leaves you. And then it's Einar for the next action.
Question. Does this count as a monstrous villain?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna use one of my raises to do damage.
Okay. Is that just one damage?
Um, but I'm gonna activate my virtue. First time you wound a villain, they also take a dramatic wound.
Okay. Yes, one dramatic wound. So, what kind of dramatic wound are you doing for this thing? It's got a dagger in one eye, and it's come scuttling and scrabbling its way towards you. It's,
Um, I almost imagine he sees the claw that kind of like tore into Finley, and he sort of like takes like a couple fingers off of that hand. It's just basically just sort of like reacting, trying to minimize available weaponry.
yeah, just tear a claw from it. I see. I see. Uh, let's see. That's Einar. Is that just one raise to do all that? You still got.
So one raise is to do my just to do the one damage, but activating the virtue to do the dramatic wound as well.
Okay. Oh, I forgot. I've got a few more raises. I forgot about the monster having a few more raises to spend. It is going to take us a rip into Einar in retaliation with one of its remaining claws. It slashes into you for that'll be 2 damage there.
Einar stares lovingly into its eyes and takes 2 damage.
You see its one glowing red eye staring at you, and Finlay, you've still got a raise there, and so does Carsten.
My only raise, Carson can go first then.
Okay.
Carsten can go. All right.
Oh,
Carsten.
sure. My second raise, I'm using the minor engine called Scourge Bane. I put that on my weapon.
Okay.
Basically, if this monster takes a wound from me next turn, it cannot spend any danger points to activate any of its abilities. For that turn.
Okay. Okay.
Hot.
Finlay, your one.
My one action. I'm just gonna stab it. Just gonna stab it with my sword. Put it in its meaty part and do 1 point of damage.
Okay. And that leaves me with one raise. And I'm going to spend a danger point. Actually, no, I'm going to spend 2 danger points here. You watch as the wounds on this thing, in a shadowy form, just knit closed. And you see that where Einar had torn its claw, and its eye gleams red once more. It has 2 eyes once more. Wounds knitted closed. Damage you've done to it. Undone. And we're back around to asking, what the hell are you doing now? What's your approach now? What are you doing?
Carsten's going to lay into it.
Pardon?
Oh, I mean, Einar still has 1 raise.
Oh, good.
Do you? I thought you'd used both of yours.
I used 1 because the activate your virtue is free.
All right, in which case, yeah, you got 1 raise.
So I'm going to do
back together again.
And then after it knits back together, I'm gonna put another axe strike right into it to do another wound.
Okay. Another wound in this thing as its flesh weaving back together as the previous damage you've done is undone. But that brings us back around to asking, what is your approach now? What are you doing? Are you doing the same thing? Remember, if you're doing the same thing, you don't get the bonus die. If you've got a different approach to take, you
I think Antonio, go for a different approach. Does this thing have legs? Or
it has legs, yes. It has
I
4
think,
of them, or 2 of them are arms, depending on what angle you're looking at it from.
fair enough. So Yeah, basically he'll try to restrict its ability to move. Has it actually pinned Finley or?
No, he hasn't pinned him. He just scored across him, trying to like rip and tear.
I think Antonio will probably try to hamstring it, try to move around it quickly, striking
Okay.
out.
Okay.
Just hamstrings, basically.
Is this a different what's?
Yeah, he's not throwing daggers at it this time, so I was going to go finesse weaponry. Just
Okay.
actually, I could try. Would I be able to use Veronica's guile at his dueling maneuver? I don't know. Can you use a special dueling maneuver outside a duel?
Remind me again what Veronica's guile does.
Basically, allows me to stack my finesse and my wits. It allows me to use both finesse and wits as well as weaponry.
I don't see why. If you can normally use dueling, unless it specifically says it's a dueling thing only.
No, it's just a special feature of the dueling style. So I'll go with that, basically. So I'll stack those two. I can
Okay.
use it just once, I think.
Okay. Rolly roll roll. I know. What's your approach? Is it the same as last time or something new?
I think in this, especially after
Remember
seeing
that apart
it,
from Carson, you've still got the -2.
damn it. I think at this point he is going to sort of see what's happened to Finley, but then also seeing that it's healing and use his resolve to try and beat this thing into submission. So I'm gonna do resolve brawl.
Okay.
Yeah, now he's just seeing this thing as a challenge.
Okay. This is the challenge. And I
Okay,
believe the
so I've got
15
that.
extends to the whole scene, or is it just?
What's that?
Does me raising the bar to 15 extend to the whole scene, or just?
No, just for the action.
Just a round. Okay, it's back to 10 again.
Yeah.
Good news
Yes.
for you all.
Thankfully.
Jesus.
So, I don't have that many
then
danger
I
sense
get
points to
this
spend.
one.
Unless anyone wants to sell me some dice.
Okay. So,
Somebody want? Anyone want to give me some more danger points?
oh, I get 2.
Okay, is that 2 for Einar?
Yeah.
Okay. How many for Antonio?
Well, because I use finesse, it's an automatic 10, and we're back down to 10 per raise.
Yeah.
That is 6.
Okay. Finley, what is your approach here?
I went with the same approach of trying to stab it with my sword, but this time I also activated Short Strike. So I'm going to be dealing 2 extra points of damage with every attack that I do to it.
Okay. Good to know. Alright. Roll and do maths. Carsten, what was your approach here?
Oh, I just need to lay into it. I need to bring it down. Doing damage.
Okay, doing damage. Is that just 2? Is that 2 raises there?
I have brawl legendary, so it's 3 raises.
3 raises. I see you've got like an extra 9 there. Do you want to sell it to me? I'll give you a hero point.
No, I don't like that smile, so no.
Okay, so let me try again. I will give you a hero point.
She's still
It's the
smiling.
same smile.
Right.
So is that just 3? So that's 3 for you.
Yes.
And what did you get, Finley?
I also got 3.
Okay. So, and no, Antonio is not first. I'm still first. So, the monster looks around. It's like quite a few. You are sort of up in its face now, aren't you? There's that Einar who's tore its leg off. You know what? It's gonna go for Einar first. And that is going to be 3 points of damage to you, Einar. Just scores across tearing into
Okay.
you with its talons.
Einar resists the urge to talk sensually into its ear and continues.
You see its red eyes glowing, and Antonio, it's your turn.
I think Antonio will probably try to bash it with his offhand dagger as he's trying to position himself to be able to take its hamstrings out. So he's probably going to try and bash it with effectively the side of his offhand dagger as he moves around it to approach it.
Okay, you're
On the side.
weaving around it, trying to like
So it
get
does.
in behind.
It's a dueling maneuver which does 1 damage, and its next damage is reduced by my weaponry skill, which is free.
Okay, so -3 on its next attack. Okay. Okay, 1 damage, and that's at 1 raise for all that.
Yep, it's just 1 maneuver.
Okay, that brings us back to the beast as it flashes out at Finlay again, as you were up in its face before. But this time that's not going to actually do you any damage. Because it is reduced by 3, from 3 to nothing. So it slashes out, but it tripped slightly, knocked off balance by Antonio's fancy feet, fancy movement. And that brings us back to Antonio once more, who still has 5 razors here.
Jesus.
I know. I need to check at some point if I'm reading the book correctly with all these additions. Like,
He's just fast. That's
You are.
Yeah. Just fast.
I'm going to try and... I was going to slash at it, but I want to try and restrict its movement and its ability to move quickly. So I am going to try and hamstring it with my next raise. I'm not sure whether I should go with a slash, but I think I'll probably just try to hamstring it.
Basically, I charge an extra raise for trying to restrict its movement here.
I think that just to make it more difficult for it to move quickly.
This is a little more harder than just
Actually-
just during damage. So go for it.
Actually, could I restrict its ability to attack instead, like one of its arms? It's got 2 limbs. No, actually, no. I'll stick with my original plan to hamstring it. So yes, an extra raise to try and catch its back of its leg as I go past.
Okay. That brings us to Finley and Karsten. Which one of you wants to go first? Which one of you's got a plan?
Carson, you can go first. You're the one that's going to actually do damage to it.
Oh no, I tell a lie. Brings us back to the monster. I must remember that
Oh,
the monster
okay.
has a turn.
Just kidding.
Just kidding, just kidding. Antonio, it slashes at you. For that would be 3 damage, 3 wounds. Just claws slashing out across you. And then, Finley and Karsten, back to you. You're muted, Karsten.
Holy shit. Here we go.
Hold the bed.
I'm just going to do some damage. I'm going to use... I can use the other... since I have 3, I can use all 3 raises to 1 hit and do more damage. Is that...
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do then. I don't know how much that was. At 3 points of damage, or
I believe that's 3. Yes. Unless...
1
Okay.
plus 2. 1 plus 2 raises.
Yep.
Okay. And he can't use any monstrous qualities. I'm sorry, they can't use any monstrous
Yeah.
qualities this turn.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
it
you.
can't, which
I don't want
means
to. I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
Like him,
Yeah.
her,
Them.
they, them.
It's a
It.
horrible hell monster with glowing red eyes and like it's an it.
It's
Finlay, over to you, and then it'll be back to Antonio.
Yeah, I'll use one of my razors to stab it with the sword and do 3 points of damage.
Okay. The sword sinks into the
Yep.
The staggers back a moment. You're doing damage to it now. You actually
Yeah, it's about to take
Harming.
6 more when my next turns come around.
driving it back. Antonio, over to you.
I think, is it 2 raises now, or are we down to 2?
By my count, you've got 3, but
But didn't it cost me an extra 1 to restrict its movement?
yeah, and that took you down from 5 to 3.
Oh, there.
You had, yeah.
I'll try to do the same, take its other leg out, effectively try to take both. So another 2. I'm just basically bashed it in the head, moved round, caught one leg, and I'm aiming to catch the other before I move round to the front again.
All right, slice across its legs. The thing limps and staggers, its movement hampered now as it kind of drags itself across the ground. Its movement even more grotesque and awkward than before when it had legs working. Now it's kind of like broken legs and limbs. And I know, at last, I know.
It'll be super simple. I am going to spend both raises to do 2 damage, and then spend a hero point to do another damage for the um uh I'm taking you with me. Um so it does an extra damage since I have a dramatic wound. So I do 3
Okay,
damage to him.
that will be enough. Tell me how Einar is bringing this thing down. This glowing red-eyed, limping remains of this creature. What are you doing to
Oh,
it?
I mean, Einar's gonna do what Einar does. He sees this thing like on the verge of collapse, and then just buries the skull, or buries the blade of the axe right in between its red eyes, and just like screams at it as the light fades out.
Yeah, as the glowing red of its eyes dims away, the shadows away from its form, until it's just this bony remains. It just looks like, without its shadows, without its glowing eyes, just a twisted remains of like a wolf skeleton long forgotten. Some
Yeah.
twisted undead thing.
So as it's incapacitated on the ground, Carson's going to bring out from his backpack a stake of Hollywood. It looks like it's coated in something. You guys aren't sure what, and he's going to drive it into whatever passes for its heart. This monster is utterly destroyed and cannot be brought back to life.
The bones crumble away to dust.
I was going to ask whether it was worth taking its head as a trophy, but
I imagine at this point, while all of that's happening, all Einar is doing is coming down from like that the rage, and he's just coming off of the screaming, breathing heavy,
just a massive gore or something like that.
Yeah,
Just put my hand on his arm, just be like, the sun's getting real low, big fella. Come back. Come back to us.
Is anyone particularly wounded?
So remember, once the battle is over, you lose any non-dramatics.
Yeah.
I've got 3 wounds.
Once the scene is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just 3 wounds here.
Yeah, they'll go away.
This scene
isn't over.
Isn't over yet.
Okay. Never mind. So I have 4 wounds and 1 dramatic.
Okay. I'll see Einar's wound and say, I can help with that, if you're willing.
Do what you must.
So I will take my last dungeon out, Summer Smile, and basically it's just a poultice of herbs and stream water, and I apply it to the wound, and at the end of the scene, you won't have that wound anymore.
Sweet.
Versus with dramatic wounds as well. No?
Yes,
and
specifically for dramatic wounds. Yeah.
Fancy.
So maybe on the deep claw mark, and this dungeon is completely. Is this?
This is all natural. It's home farms, farm fresh, second herbs.
Is there like a medieval version? Is there like a medieval version of playing with the boys that happens in our head as you're rubbing oil all over him?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm okay with that.
No, it's entirely in like lutes.
Minstrel?
Lutes and lyres, a minstrel.
Of this darkened cave as Karsten anoints Einar with magical oils.
No.
Oh yeah, no, it's like that scene in Ghost.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know you two were that close.
Wait, so am I Swayze or are you Swayze?
We can both take turns being Little Spoon.
Okay. I'm okay with this.
If everyone's done with the ointment and the oiling up of the bodies, I think we can continue down. Does it look safe, Mr. Heller, since you've
Do I, since it's still in the
you're
scene?
used to this?
Yeah.
Well,
And let's
here's the
say-
thing. I'm kind of
let's say
immune
the
to
scene
that.
is going to end when you emerge safely from these ruins.
Okay,
Just for today.
so I'm still unaffected by the fear. If you guys don't feel afraid anymore, then I would say we are safe for the moment.
I
Whether you
would
feel afraid or
say
not is up to you. No.
Well,
It
we've
is-
got rid of the creature that's causing the fear.
it's scary monster, but I'm never scared.
Correct.
All right, then we keep going.
Keep going.
If Einar's
Looking
not
for
scared,
traps
then
this
the
time.
rest of us can't be scared.
Absolutely.
That's how that works.
Okay.
Einar's
Onto-
gonna
Who's taking the
forward.
lead?
Oh, Einar 100%, except this
Yeah.
time he's gonna light the torch that he's carrying,
Yeah.
mainly so he doesn't step into another
Trap.
trap.
Carson's in the rear this time.
Yep.
Oh, and then as we're passing the gunpowder barrel, he will point it out in case anyone thinks it might be useful.
Yeah, we'll put it over with the bodies.
Okay, you make your way past the barrel of gunpowder and further along this corridor, this line of drag marks. Now, I know you have a torch in hand and you're keeping an eye out. And as you sort of reach the end of this corridor, you see it turns a corner. You can see there's another rope stretched across, just at ankle kicking height. That if it was dark or if you were running, you could catch your foot on. And you see this rope leads just round the corner to another barrel. Back there.
Einar's onto you, rope demon.
This is why Einar's up front.
Yep.
Excellent call, Captain.
Disable it.
He's the smart
and
one.
move
of us.
on.
I'm gonna say I am just because it's funny if you didn't get enough right. It is gonna be a risk to disarm this trap. Whoever's taking this role, just see how.
Oh, could I
even
try
if it
to
takes-
disarm
If you can
it?
get 2 razors, you can do it without it.
Well, what if we just pull the fuse out?
Anything
Who's,
blowing out.
who's trying
Right.
to disarm it is the question.
Go on, just
I could try. Would it plus? Is there a skill?
only if someone can roll it quickly. Essentially, otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what would it be? Like scholarship?
I was thinking theft.
Yeah.
Would theft do or not? Disarm
Yeah,
it?
because you're
Yeah.
trying to steal the fuse out of it.
Mhm.
go for it.
I just
That's not-
do this.
That's not my gig. I'm a pirate hunter.
Yep. Yep.
I'm
Good pirate hunter. We're the good guys.
Yep.
So that is because I've got 3 in theft. I'll just re-roll that. 1 dice anyway.
So you've got 4 already, so
So
5.
5.
Yeah, that's more than enough.
Yeah,
Basically, I was
exactly.
just checking that someone had
He is very good at theft and the slightly dodgy stuff.
so much of you just wanted a barrel of gunpowder to blow up in
We-
your face.
yeah, we
It's
do.
Like, you
That's-
take this from me. But alas, you disarm the barrel, and you now
That's-
have 2 barrels of gunpowder
That's
that
2
you can
barrels of
use,
gunpowder coming back with us.
and
Yep.
2 bits of fuse. And just past this gunpowder around the corner, you can see the end of where whoever was dragging this chest they were dragging either thought they'd hidden it far enough or had got really fed up of dragging a heavy chest down through these ruins. Because you see these scrape marks in the floor end with this heavy wooden chest. You can just tell it's heavy just by looking at it. It's big, solid oak chest bound in brass. Like,
And
not
it's just a
neatly,
chest.
carefully placed. It's just like at an angle across this passageway.
Yep.
And you can see ahead of the passage sort of narrows and like descends in the darkness. But yeah, this is as far as this chest has been taken.
Maybe they ran from the other thing.
Maybe. I'll go to the
interrupted.
I go to the edge of the darkness and just drop the torch that I have. See how far it goes.
It sputters out and splash in some water.
All right, so we know that's a dead end. Einar, since you were the strongest and the bravest of us, I give you the honors of opening the chest for us.
Should I check it first in case it's trapped?
Are you doubting Einar's ability to open the chest, even if it is trapped? I'll leave it up to you, Einar. Do you want to eat the trap if it is trapped? with your full face, or do you want to try to let Mr. Antonio here to deal with the traps?
Please don't let me stop you.
I'm basically just giving it a cursory glance and check over to see if there's a trap on it.
It seems to be locked. You can't.
Einar breaks the lock.
I was just going to say, if there's no
Well,
visible trap,
Yeah,
then
it
that's
looks like
fine.
it's got a lock in the chest. Essentially, you have two unless you can think of another option. Two options here. Pick the lock. Smash the chest. Unless any of you have.
Oh,
I could try.
we'll try lockpick first.
Yeah, my character does have lockpicks, strangely enough. So
And I will
don't-
say there's a risk here that you either don't succeed, forever jam this lock.
which means the lock will have to be broken. But
Yeah.
okay.
While he's trying to lockpick it, I'm gonna just prime my gun then and just be ready to shoot this lock.
I'm gonna watch
Oh,
the
no.
passage.
I'm standing like axe ready to go. Like the second he decides that this thing, like I'll bust
I think
the chest.
Antonio's got this. As you're all
Okay.
standing ready with your alternative lockpicking methods,
Mhm.
Antonio's just there. And
Just- Somewhat ironically enough, his actual lockpick is because he's still from Castile, so there's a particular religion, isn't there? Vatican, I think, or
oh, you're lockpicking it with your holy, like your
With-
symbol of the holy church.
because it's something nobody would take from him, even if he's locked up. Is his necklace has it's basically the symbol of his church that he's a member of, but it's actually a lockpick built into it. That's what he's using to pick the lock.
So that's the symbol of the Vatican.
Well, basically, it's it's similar to.
Yeah, like Einar would see that and then just sort of like instinctively just make a noise, but not say anything else. He has a history with the church.
That's okay, so do I. Hence the reason I'm using it. There's a reason for it. It's somewhat ironic.
Finally putting a good use to that symbol. Good on you, Mr. Antonio.
Exactly the point. So yes, I picked the lock. I hope
Okay,
that's enough for it.
the lock is picked, and you can lift the lid of this chest. It's a creak. The hinges have not been oiled for a long
So
time.
Einar will, once it's unlocked, like kind of motion for everybody to take a step back just in case something happens. And he'll open it.
Okay, heaves the lid open, and as you do, your torchlight reflects off the contents, and you can see. First thing is gold. The light hits the gold and reflects back up onto Einar's face and his oiled chest now as well, just bathing him in the light
Yep,
of this
like
gold.
He-Man.
Yeah.
You can.
I'm thinking more
There's-
Conan, to be fair.
There's loose gold in here, and also what looks to be a couple of like bags, a little moth-eaten and worm-eaten. But there's a what appears to be like pearls spilling out amongst the gold. But as well as all this, there are a couple of other items. There is a sheath of papers sealed with a wax seal.
Mhm.
There is what appears to be a small statuette of dark green stone and a silver dagger.
Well,
and a whole lot of gold.
Well,
I mean, I was going to say, if unless anybody is opposed, let's go through the contents when we're not in the creepy dark.
right,
Go.
yeah, sure.
We'll
Let's
get back to the ship and decide. We'll
Yeah.
sort out where.
Einar, do you think you can take the chest, or do you want some help with that?
I mean, I don't know exactly how heavy this is. Einar will try to take it by himself.
The answer is it's very heavy. Einar can move it on his own, but essentially he's sort of dragging it inch by inch with this horrible scraping noise with the brass corners against the stone. Like,
Yeah, Carson has 3 brawn. He can help.
Okay.
I was going to say, so the fact that he can move it by himself, he won't necessarily, well, Einar's got 4 in brawn.
Hmm.
So he won't ask anybody else to help him, but he won't stop anybody if they try
Yeah.
to help. Because once he knows he can move it by himself, he'll just do it regardless of the noise.
Yeah. I won't disrespect it by asking, but I'll assist.
Yeah. All right. That means that me and Mr. Antonio here are on barrel duty, so
Yeah, we'll be
we're-
watching out for trouble as well at the same
yeah,
time.
we'll start moving those towards the bodies as well.
Okay, so inch by inch, I mean, even with 2 of you, it's still slow going. This is a heavy, big chest, and gold is heavy. Like, a whole chest full of this stuff is, I mean, this is probably not the full hoard that was taken from the boat. There seems to be a small portion of it that was actually hidden here, but it's still a significant portion.
Mm-hmm.
And even in gemstones alone, there's lots of raw worth from looking at that. But inch by inch, you get this heavy chest and 2 barrels of gunpowder down to the bottom of where you sort of slithered your way down into this ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And looking up, you see this steep, muddy, rocky slope that you sort of half slid, half scrambled down to get into here.
Mm-hmm.
While they were bringing the chest, I actually do want to kind of like look around with Antonio to see if there's an alternate exit, something that they could have been missed, or something like wherever the wolf thing came out of. That might be.
The wolf thing seemed to come out of a crack higher up in the wall, like it was slithered, it crawled its way out of this crack higher in the wall.
Creepier than I thought it was. Okay, cool.
It doesn't appear to be an obvious other way out, other than like back up the way you've come, or deeper into these ruins down where the water was. But you don't know if that leads out anywhere or just down.
Yeah. All right. Who's good at holding their breath then to see if there's a alternative?
Oh, the water you found at the other end?
Right.
Well, what do we do about the Unites at the treasure chest? We're not taking that out through the water.
It'll be rough. We'd have to bring sacks and stuff and take them slowly and surely. This has to be. There has to be a different way out. This is a ruined.
It has to be part of a bigger ruin, you would think.
Right.
Perhaps steps that take us to the surface, but I don't know. There must be another route, as you say.
Check the walls. There's always stories of like hidden passages and strange optical illusions when it comes to these kind of things.
You tap around the walls. I mean, the walls are partially collapsed, but they seem very solid. As far as you can tell, your ways out are up the slope where you came in, through one of the cracks wherever the monster came from, or deeper into the ruins where they're through the water. So you sort of dropped it off. There was a drop into dark water down there. That might also lead out. You've got 3 ways.
What about? No, I don't know. What about going back to the crew and getting some more members and some rope and some?
We could do that. Sure.
Just an idea.
Yeah. It's the climb up the slope. If we can't do it, then
right.
It doesn't matter how many people we bring down.
So let's try. Well, one of us. I can try. Let me try and see if I slide back down.
You try that way. Einar, could you lift me up? I want to try to get through one of these cracks.
I was going to have a look at that crack the creature came through. Is there much of a drop, or is it something you can reach from the ground without?
No, you'd have to stand at least on someone's shoulders to reach the bottom of it and pull yourself up into that crack. I say we've got 2 risks going on here. One of them is Finlay trying to clamber through a little crack, and one is Karsten trying to clamber up this slope. What approach are you each taking here?
If it's slippery, I'm going to try and get a run and try to scramble up get some momentum and try to scramble up the slope. If there's roots, maybe grab onto a root.
Okay, yeah, kind of just a Russian scramble, sort of speed and yeah. All right. Let's see. That would be. What have we got? Either brawn or finesse and athletics. what we're after here?
Okay.
I think that's what it's
Goodness.
gonna be for me.
Yeah, this seems appropriate. You kind of scrape and scramble your way out.
So no penalty.
No.
3. 3. Yeah.
That is enough to get up the slope, and so that's enough to get up the slope. That's enough to not take the consequence of causing yourself any injury on the way up,
Okay.
and or collapsing the hole. So you avoid both the consequences that you could take there.
2 for me.
2. I'm going to say that this is enough to get up there and get through this hole,
Mhm.
and either an opportunity to find a way out at the other end, or a chance to avoid taking some damage here from clawing your way, slithering your way down this hole, scraping all of your arm.
Mhm.
Mhm. I'll take the scrapes if it'll give me a clearer exit.
Yeah. So been like sort of bleeding from these scrapes on your arm, you slither your way out in this between the roots of the tree. There is a way out this way, but there's no way you could kick a chest through it.
Yeah.
And it'd be hard going. Carsten, like scrabbling and grabbing onto these rocks, you
Mhm.
you make it to the top of the way you came in,
I'm
out
gonna
the
just
entrance.
yell down that I made it, but it wasn't easy.
Not easy.
Is
I'll
the
come up-
fog? Can you? Sorry. There's the fog gone?
It's still foggy.
Okay. Like as bad
Still
as
foggy.
before? Or is it?
Yeah, it's still as bad as before.
Okay.
You're starting to suspect that the fog may not have been supernatural.
Mhm.
I don't know how much time passed. I mean, Eisen's foggy too, I think, from fair bit of the time. But
Yeah.
It is foggy,
Yeah.
but that's because of
Yeah.
the montane and there's stinky
Yep.
cheese smell coming over the
And the
border.
monsters in the Great Woods.
Yep.
Yeah, and
So I'll-
that is like because it's haunted all the time. So.
I'll come around behind Carson and I'll just yell down. So there's a way out too through the cracks, but I don't think we can get the chest out. So we'll be back, boys. Try not to kill each other. And we'll bring some rope and then we'll start to create some kind of pulley system.
If we can get bags at least, we can split up the gold and do it
Yeah.
in smaller.
Sure.
The chest is just an annoyance at this point.
Well, we don't know if there might be some hidden compartments or anything inside the chest.
Excellent point.
So
So
we'll
you're
be back,
leaving
boys.
Antonio and Einar down in the ruins,
Yeah.
We're left with the treasure.
Yeah.
and
I'm
you're
just-
heading down to the shore to sort of get some more rope and things.
Mhm.
Okay. So
For the record,
Yes.
Einar will sit on the chest while he's waiting. He was told to guard it,
That's
yeah,
a
so
shame.
you
he's
sit
just
down on
gonna
his chest.
he's gonna sit on the chest.
Should we see if there's any more hidden compartments on it? See if there's anything more hidden on it.
Probably best wait for both.
Well, we're not getting this chest through either of those gaps. See if there's a false layer in the lid or something like hidden scrolls or something, or hidden base. We're not
So
going to take
Einar-
anything out.
Yeah, Einar will stay sitting on it, but he'll like shift around to give him access to like look at it from the outside.
On the outside, you can't find any hidden compartments. You suspect if there are any, they would be on the inside of the chest.
Yeah, I don't think Antonio will be able to strong arm Einar off it, to be fair. Einar's a little bit on the bigger side, so he'll just basically stay watch, keep an eye out for anything which shouldn't be here, basically.
Okay, so the two of you stay down in the ruin down here. As time passes, we can consider this to have been the end of the scene. Like half of you are out of the ruin, half of you are like waiting, sort of patching up wounds, sort of settling down here. I know you feel Carsten's like poultice magic oil is starting to take effect. Like
I miss his angelic touch.
He's got soft hands.
Finlay and Carsten, you make your way back along sort of the goat path, down towards the bay. You don't see any
Back to the
ghosts.
ship?
You do get a brief glimpse of goats/sheep in the fog down to the little bay where you pulled your boat up. And
As we're pushing the boat back into the water, Carson,
no. Before you get to that point, it's
oh boy.
So, if there's anything you want to say, you can say it on the way, but it's going to be before you're pushing the boat out.
Yeah, so it's going to be like, Carson, you've been on the ship? Do you think we can carry all those goats and sheep back? Be worth something to somebody, livestock. And you're muted again.
His words are swallowed up by the fog.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I think, well, I mean, you saw how it reacted when it saw you, right?
Right.
Catching them might be more worth trouble than it's worth, but you're right. But then again, also depending on how many there are.
If we're bringing more of the crew down,
I don't disagree with you.
So
I mean, we just going to give free dinghy rides to these guys, or?
I mean, I'll talk it over with Hannah once we get back.
Okay, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't either. That's why I brought it up.
Okay, so as you draw up to the top of the path leading down to the little cove itself, you can hear noises in the fog, and you can see figures. You can see that yours is not the only little boat, little launch drawn up in this cove. Another boat is drawn up, and you can see a group of figures who seem to be pulling this boat up the shore and getting out. Through the fog, it's hard to make out clearly, but they look to be about, let's say, a bit less than a dozen of them in total, perhaps 10 of them.
Did they have any markings?
Through the fog, you can't see any sort of distinctive
Anything,
markings.
okay.
You can see that there seems to be probably about, let's say about 6 of them appear to be sort of sailoring sorts of crewmen. You can see one of them is potentially a woman, and at least one, perhaps some of the crewmen are actually crew women, but one of them is standing looking round, and the other, who seems to be in charge, is a man you have not seen before. And they're sort of pulling at the boat. The man who seems to be in charge of giving orders, pointing to one of the people to sort of keep watch on the boat, and then they're starting to make their sort of turn as if they're starting to make their way up the path towards you. They don't seem to have noticed you yet.
Yeah, Carson's going to not going to say anything, but he's going to look back at the entrance. He's going to try and just as quietly as possible get back to the entrance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's going to, when he gets there, he's just going to. Did I have?
He's back quite a bit across the island, up the path towards where the tree is.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, just because that's. But I mean, we have to assume they're here for the same thing.
Okay.
So.
Better to
risk here. You're going to get caught.
Yeah, better to lure them into a trap.
That's exactly. So, did I have to yell really loud for them to hear me from the top of the passage?
Well, my first question is: there's going to be a risk of you getting caught making your way across this island. So, what approach are you taking here? I think both of you. This is a little bit dramatic. So you're going to slip back through the fog, get back to the others. So I'm saying this is a dramatic sequence of you trying to get back through the fog and get back down into that entrance without sort of alerting anyone else on this island that you're out there.
I'm going to hide. I'm going to use my hiding skills to get back.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna try to use notice and finesse instead to kind of see the quietest path.
Okay, you're trying to be alert and watching out for goats.
Yeah. That might bleed at our approach. Yeah.
Okay. Give me a roll. Tell me how many raises you got here.
Nope, that's not. That's what you're doing. What am I doing?
So you're sort of heading
3
back through. Okay, 3 and a 4.
4.
Okay. So as you make your way back, with one raise, you can make your way up back to the top of the entrance without getting heard. Along the way, if you want, you have an opportunity to essentially cause them a distraction in the form of goats. You want to try and sort of send them off in some direction. Like,
You had me
essentially
at goat
distract them
distraction.
with goats. You can
Yep.
do
Yeah.
if either of you want to
Same.
spend a raise to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All I needed to hear was goat distraction.
Okay.
Yep. I'm on board for that.
So that's 2 raises as you make your way back, and they seem to be held up or temporarily distracted by goats in the fog.
Goat jam.
As you reach the top of this entrance that leads back down into the ruins where Einar and Antonio are waiting.
So I'm thinking we let them know and we hide. We don't want to be all down there.
Right.
Make sense?
Of course. And I'll yell down. I'll start low and kind of work my way up until I hear a response. Can you hear me? Let me know when you can hear me.
And whenever Einar can hear him, he'll respond.
All right. There's another group coming down. So Carson and I will hide up here and take out some of their forces, but just be aware that they're going to try to come down there and take the treasure. So be ready for protection.
You hear some cursing, you assume, in Vestin.
I don't assume that. I assume that is the happy noise that Vestin make.
That when battle is afoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
So
Carson and I will hide and
you
take advantage of whoever's
as you hear
straggling
through the fog this group approach, and you see the man who's leading them sort of talking to the woman who's walking beside him. And the woman who's walking beside him is familiar to you in appearance. And you can hear what she's saying. Be careful. You should have seen what they did to the full Coast Guard when I ran into them before. Tore through a ship like it was paper. Well, not to be underestimated, whoever they are. I know they're not to be underestimated. That's the man who don't actually recommend. They came very recommended. That's why I hired them. I didn't know they would run off and just steal the treasure on their own. That's because you are an idiot. Who does not hear this treasure, then go off and try and steal it for themselves? I thought they were reliable. Reliable thieves. There's no such thing as a reliable thief. If you find someone who will break into a prison for you, they will also steal your gold. Ori, you are an idiot. You're lucky you came across me. Alright. You see them pause at the top of the entrance looking down. So Finlay and Carson are crouched off into the fog in the roots nearby. And Einar and Antonio down below. Let me know if at any point you want to do something. If you want to plunge into action, let me know. They're peering at this entrance.
Sorry, for your benefit. Our idea is we're waiting for the crowd to split up.
Okay,
Yep.
I think Antonio probably try and roll one of the barrels near where the slope comes down from the tree. He's probably going to try and move a barrel near there. But that's about it, really. He's hoping he can set it off with a gunshot if he has to, but from a distance. But he's setting it so he can get them as soon as they come down. If that makes sense, that's Einar will.
Einar will look at him and go, "Please remember, we're down here as well. That goes boom. We may have new home."
We've got the other route that Finlay took as well.
Which may go away with big boom.
Hopefully not, but I'll try to position it Actually, I'm not an expert on explosives, but I'm going to try and position it so anyone who comes down will be caught by the blast.
It's quite a large barrel of gunpowder.
Oh,
You suspect that I mean, you're not an expert on gunpowder, but you suspect that if this went off, it wouldn't be like contained to a small area near the foot of this slope. It would be a large explosion and may risk the structural integrity of the ruin.
that's okay.
Which is what Einar was trying to suggest.
Scientifically
Exactly
speaking, though, you might open up the crack in the roof, though.
It might make a new way out. A bigger way
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
You know?
In actual case, I may as well put both barrels next to each other, see what happens.
There we
The
go.
All-Father will protect us.
There we go. That's the thinking.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
All right.
not going to be a plan. It's more a last resort. He'll put
You've
one
got
barrel.
two barrels of gunpowder in place down at the
No,
bottom.
one barrel.
I think to be safe, if you want to blow out the roof, definitely stack the barrels. Don't put them side by side. You want the
Fair enough.
explosion to go straight up.
Even if you put one next to the other one is still in the same room as the gunpowder, right?
I mean, this is science.
It's a big room, but it's not a huge room. Okay. Anyway.
I'm not an engineer.
It'll be close enough, but out of sight of that.
Yeah.
So if someone comes down the slope, they won't see it.
There's not really anywhere to hide them in this chamber at the bottom. Like, if they come down, they're going to see you, the torches, the bone pile, and the gunpowder. Like,
unless
you're hiding off round the corner in the other tunnel, or in like the crack in the wall, they're going to see you when you get down there. You've got torches lit. Like, they can see you.
Unless we put the torches out.
Unless you put the torches out and wait in utter darkness.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good plan, actually, to put the torches out so they can't spot us, but they'll need torches to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you kill the first thing that lights up a torch.
This sounds like a good plan.
Meanwhile, up at the top, you can hear a similar murmured conversation. Well, we send one of the men down. But what if there's something down there? And then he just dies. You should go down. You're the most capable fighter of us all. I'm going down first. Right. We all go down as one. I'm going down there. Time passes. This argument sort of becomes circular. Right. I go first. Men go with me. You come with me too. Right. You at the back? I'm at the back. Look. Oh, we need you down there to get anything out of there. Anything down there out again. Yes.
Sneaky motherfuckers.
And they start to like crawl their way down the slope. The guy who seems to be in charge, the leader of this expeditionary force, is at the front. They've got their brute squad in the middle, and the sorceress taking up the rear. So as they start to descend, there's a point where essentially two things are happening at once. One, the sorceress is the last person left outside the hole in the ground waiting to go in. And two, the person who's at the front slithers down a slope into pitch blackness. And starts fumbling around to light a torch. A torch flares into light in the darkness.
And Einar at that point is staring like right in their face with his axe.
And he looks at you and lets out a slightly undignified, like, yelp of surprise that I think of all the things he was expecting to find down in a Senenth ruin that's supposed to be haunted, a large Veston with an axe was perhaps not top of the list. But this sounds like here we are starting an action scene in two parts. We've got something going on at the top, something going on at the bottom, and a brute squad in between that can go either direction.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your approach here? It's the hero point to use both, yes.
Yeah, it's just double checking out. I've spent the hero point before, so I haven't got one back.
That makes the ability make so much more sense because the hero point, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. I know. You sound like you had an approach here that involves an axe.
Yeah, I mean, it's Einar's gonna do what Einar does, so it'll be brawn and brawl.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna activate my virtue of the sun, and I'm going to rush out from my hiding spot, sword drawn, yelling obscenities in Inish at the woman who put a scar on my boat, uh,
Yes.
and just try to stab her in her face. But end it with, "Your sister says hello."
Like, oh, by the way, your sister's hot. Okay. All right. So that sounds like a fair approach. Anyone else know what approach they're taking here? What's
Basically, just slash them, sword, stab, stab.
stabby
You know,
stab
the
stab?
usual. I'm assuming it's just the one person who's come down at the moment.
There's one person down at the moment, but there's about to be a brute squad come slithering down this slope. They're not down
Okay.
there yet, but they're coming. Okay. Everyone rolled their razors. Did I miss anyone?
I think he's going to attack. I kind of want to try to incapacitate her.
Yeah, I'm trying to make myself the center of attention so you can sneak up on her.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try. I don't want to kill her. I want to contain her.
All right. Anyone got more than 5 razors here?
I've just
I
got
did.
5.
I got 7.
Ooh, 7 for Finlay.
Yeah, because each of my die counts as a raise.
Nice. Okay, 5 for Antonio.
Okay.
5 for Einar.
5 for Einar. Wow, it's busy.
Do
And
I get any extra bonuses from his action, or no? From him distracting her, or
no.
Okay.
There is a way of spending like a hero point to do something to give people extra, I believe, but
wow. All right. So
Yeah,
we got 4.
it's a hero point for 3 dice.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. 4.
4 for Karsten. Okay. So, with 7, Finlay, you are far and out in the lead up here. And
Yeah.
currently, you just see Lucille ready to follow the others down into this tunnel.
Yeah.
And
No, she's not going to make it down there because I'm going to stab the meat of her thigh. And I'm going to use all 7 raises. No, you know what? I'm going to keep one for myself in case she gets froggy. So 6 raises for 6 damage.
6 raises for 6 damage.
Yeah, was a
Yikes. That is a lot.
Yeah, leaves me with 1.
Leaves you with 1. Okay. She like this blade just goes into her, like pinning her down there. And I'll get back to what she's gonna do about that situation in a moment. And she my sister sent you? And we have 3 people on 5 here, so I'm going to say Antonio and Einar. Does either of you want to go first? Either you got a plan here.
I was going to say
know.
I'll make mine extremely simple. I'm going to gain a hero point until you get to decide my next action.
Oh, I think Antonio, seeing that Einar was the first one in his face, will step back to let him go first. Because I'm saving
Okay.
myself for whatever else comes down.
Question here is, how cruel am I? Einar, somebody just grabs hold of the guy, sort of plucks him off his feet, sort of ready to like just grab him, like toss him against the wall, sort of like incapacitate him, maybe get some information. No, just smash him against the wall. But you get a hero point for this. But in the process, as you grab at this gentleman, he drops the torch. As the torch lands next to the barrel of gunpowder.
Can I spend a raise?
You're not in control,
Oh, that's right.
but I got
So
5
there's
as
now
well.
an added danger of this gunpowder at the end of this thing going to be out of razors is going to blow.
Yeah.
As soon as you stop it, it's going to blow.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Antonio probably tried to do.
Antonio, over to you. What are you doing? This guy's pinned up against the wall. The other guy, he's not looking.
I'm trying to move the torch away from the gunpowder, basically.
Okay.
Or put the torch out.
Not action. A raise to just drag the torch away.
Yeah.
Okay. That brings us up top to Lucille. Okay. What have we got? Why do I ever let NPCs have magic? It should never be allowed. I have learned this lesson 1,000 times over. And why did I make the Montaignes a feature of this? Because theirs is possibly the most, of using in situation
Yep.
like that.
The world is not baguettes and onions, I'll tell you what.
No. This
Amen,
is...
brother.
With a moment's concentration. This only requires a raise. Lucille looks down to where you've pinned her leg through with this dagger. Her blood spilling out onto the ground.
It's a full-length sword, ma'am.
Sorry.
I know size doesn't matter, but it's a full-length sword.
It's a full... I was just looking at it from a long way away, okay?
I'm just saying.
The full-length sword. And she can walk to me. She's gonna go. There's just a rip in the air. And you watch as this ground just opens up and she's gone. In this bloody hole in space, she is out of there.
This. Again with this.
And
We just wanted to talk to her.
Look. They're very good at escaping.
Wait, you mean to tell me the French are cowards? What?
Oh, no.
No! I'm going to come back to defend the honor of Montaigne.
The historical accuracy.
But yes, Lucille is gone. She pulled the same trick she pulled last time.
God damn it.
And that brings us to Einar. You've got this guy pinned up by his throat against the wall, his legs kicking and struggling. And you're muted.
I am going to, since you were not cruel enough to use more than one raise, that gives me 4. I'm gonna put I'm gonna smack him into the wall. And deal a damage to him.
Just one? Just the one?
So he has hit points like we do in theory, correct?
Yeah, yes.
So it's not one of those not like a brute squad where there's 5 of them, so they take 5 damage.
Yeah, no. He has more than one.
He has a spiral.
Yes, essentially.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna use the other 4 that I have and do 4 damage to him.
Okay. Like,
And this is
cracking his head
literally
against
just.
the back of the wall. Like,
Oh yeah, no. Einar, while he's doing this, is literally just using him as a club against the wall.
his ragdoll cracks his head against the wall. He's not doing good. Not doing good at all. But that brings us, who's still got 4? Oh, Antonio, Carsten, and someone else. So Antonio and Carsten, you both got 4. Either of you got a plan?
I mean, I'm going to prepare in case they start coming back up. I'm going to prepare off to the side of the entrance. Just
Okay.
ready myself, whatever.
I mean, there is no real ready action, so essentially, like,
Yeah.
what are you actually doing?
You know, so I got raises.
You got raises?
Yeah, just shoot down the tunnel.
Do Antonio first.
Do what?
I think Antonio will probably just get ready for anyone else he can hear coming down that ramp.
Well, essentially, are you forfeiting all your remaining raises until we get to their turn? They go when you've run out of raises.
That's a very good point. They go after me.
Yes.
I'm just thinking there's no way I can actually inflict damage on them when they appear.
Can I, in theory, can I retcon where I do 1 less damage so I've got 1 raise?
I suppose so, yeah.
Thank you.
Just this time. I mean, this is the last session out of our 3 sessions, but just this once.
Yeah, I think Antonio will just be getting ready for anyone else coming down. So if that means he forfeits his raises, he does. He's just ready.
So you can go up there. They're up there. You can get up there and fight them.
Actually, to be fair, I could shoot my pistol up the
You
route.
can shoot your pistol up there. You can scramble up there and start trying to drag them down.
No, I'll take it. I'll shoot. I'll take my pistol and just shoot a single shot up the way they're coming down.
Here. And then tumble as one of the brute squad goes just tumbling down this slope to land at the bottom. Okay, that's 5. Alright, that takes you down to 3. Carsten, did you have anything you wanted to do, or are you just...
Yeah, I think I don't have a lot of good skill in this, but I'll just try to intimidate and probably, what goes with intimidate usually? Like panache or brawn or something?
Well, you got 4 raises here.
Yeah.
You can use this to try and, like, get down this hole and get out of the brute squad. You can use this. There's a crack in the ground where Finlay came out of as well, if you want to go through that way. If you want to get down there and do anything, or you can just call out until the brute squad does something.
Yeah, this round doesn't end until everybody uses their raises.
Yeah.
So you've still got raises to go.
Yeah. Just
you can change your approach. It just costs you an extra raise.
Right. But if I go into the tunnel, there's 8 of them between me and the other team, and fighting in the tunnel. 5 of them. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to change my tack. Yeah, I'm going to change my tack.
Aren't you a big Eisen monster hunter? Like, why are you afraid now?
I'm not afraid. I just feel like...
Okay, all right. Sounds afraid. It sounds afraid.
You can't swing a broadsword in the tight tunnel. It's just...
Okay, that makes sense.
Like, I could stab it. You're right.
You could stab it.
I think I'll just yell into the tunnel. Hello, friends. If any of you feel like coming out and surrendering because you are most assuredly surrounded, we will honor that.
Okay, I'm gonna say that's 2 raises because you've changed your approach to threaten them, try and like get them to come out. The guy that Antonio's at 3, so Antonio, you're next.
Okay. I've still got a number of throwing daggers, probably at least 3 more, so I'll throw one up the tunnel, hopefully hit something. I'm not going to reload a pistol, it takes too long.
I say this and the pistol are probably a different approach to the one you had.
Different approach, yeah, that makes sense. It'll cost 2.
It costs 2, which brings you down. That brings you down to 0. So you're down to 0, but you have another. As someone else comes tumbling down this slope into the cave below.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. The captain, who's not been named, who I know has pinned against the wall, he's gonna try desperately to get this great big vested man off him in the only way that makes sense, which is just stab repeatedly into his stomach with a dagger in the hope that this will do something. That is going to be 4 wounds to Einar.
They teach babies hit harder than you.
He says in response. Karsten, you've still got 2.
Mhm.
You can go down the hole in the
Um,
ground, or you can not.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna see if anybody decides to take us up on my offer.
Okay. That leaves only Finlay's got a raise left. Oh,
I have 1 left. You let me
you
keep
have
1.
1 left. Yes.
Ooh,
correct.
go ahead, go first.
Yes.
So the guy who came down is the captain.
Yeah, he seems to be the person in charge of them, as far as you can tell.
Okay, I would have treated this slightly differently.
Whether he's the captain of the
Um,
whole boat or just the captain of this expeditionary force, you don't know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna smack him into the wall again.
Yeah.
For 1
We've
more
come this
damage.
far. Yeah, we've come
1
this
damage?
far.
Yeah. All right. And that brings us. Finlay, you still got 1 left.
Yep.
You're up top. There's a hole in the ground with some people you can hear
There's-
ready to compile it out.
That's not
yeah.
gonna work for me, so I'm just gonna throw a dagger down.
And as they start compiling, yeah.
Yeah.
As
Like, oh, they're coming up. They're angry. Whatever you said to them,
Okay.
Carson.
I asked them to surrender.
All right. So, it's at this point that let's split this brute squad. 2 of them are going down, 2 of them are going up. They're only little squads. The 2 that are going down pile into Antonio. That's 2 wounds to Antonio. The 2 coming up, I think Carsten was the one threatening them up front.
Mhm.
So Carsten's going to take 2 wounds as they come running out. Like,
I asked nicely, what is this? A typical Montaigne.
I mean, it's a scary hole. They're scary people. They're compiling out. They're piling into you. Okay.
I've told you, Carson, you've got to offer them baguettes.
There's the captain and the remnants of the brute
Not the
squad left.
baguettes.
Any approaches people are taking? Go, go, go.
Okay. Well, they declined my offer, so I will be attacking this turn.
Okay,
Yeah.
roll. Antonio, what are you doing?
Well, I've been said that you get 4 wounds, then a dramatic wound, isn't it? So
If you don't know what you're doing, I will move on to the next person. We are trying to roll this fast.
I'm stabbing. I'm
Stabbing?
using wits and
Roll.
weaponry. Wits and
Finlay, what are you
weaponry.
doing?
I'm shooting. I gotta protect my boy.
Einar, what are you doing? You got the guy up.
Rip and tear have already rolled.
Okay, yeah. So you don't get the bonus, but rip and tear you roll. Okay. Anyone got more than 5 raises?
Jeez, look at those results.
Anyone with more than 5?
Nope, I have 3.
Okay, 3 for Einar.
I've got 4 because of my legendary.
4 for Karsten.
3 here as well.
Okay.
3 here as well.
3. Okay. Ooh. I think I am first. I'm first. You know what? He's throwing it all in here. He's not got many other ways of doing this. 5 rooms to Einar. You are a pincushion. This guy is just pincushioning you, just kind of kicking at your legs, like like flailing, trying to claw his way out. Desperation overcoming good sense. 5 wounds. Karsten.
Yep.
What are you doing?
I'm going to attack. I'm going to attack. If there's 2 of them, right?
There's 2 of them that came out. Yes.
Just if I do an attack plus a raise, that's 2 damage, and that should take him out, right?
Take him down.
Okay.
I can take him down. Okay. Einar, you got this guy up by the throat. What you doing, Einar? What you doing?
I am going to spend all of my raises and do spend my hero point to do an extra damage for the dramatic wound that I have. So he takes 4 damage.
That is enough.
And literally Einar is just at this point just smashing him until he stops moving.
He falls limp. The dagger he was wielding drops from his hand and clatters onto the floor.
Yeah, and as soon as he goes limp, Einar just like tosses him to the ground and then turns his attention to whatever.
Okay. Antonio, there's 2 guys up in your face.
I'm just going to slash at him with my sword and dagger, basically. Just straightforwardly into him. Just a fencer move slash for 3 damage.
And with that, the
Enough.
brute squad is down. Their leader is down, and the sorceress is gone.
Oh,
Sorry.
there goes the rum. I'm spilling the rum.
Yes. No, I shut the book and sensed a load of things sliding into the mic, which was a bad decision. I apologize to everyone on the other end of that. But yeah, as this brutal fight comes in, I know how you're looking. It's just you're full of holes. How you feeling?
This man hits like weak baby. I know it's fine.
Okay. So
We yell down, is everything okay?
Are you alive?
There are 2 of us alive. All that matters.
Good.
We'll make assumptions and not ask which 2.
It's safe to ask. The 2 who started alive. Well,
Right. No, we get you. I get what you're saying. If you're good down there, then we're gonna go to the original plan and try to bring back some crew members before any more of these, whoever these are, come looking for this treasure.
Mm-hmm.
But just be aware. You might be in for some more treats, as it were.
well, so you head down to the shore to get some more crew to
Yeah,
pull the
and
treasure up out of
we
this
take
cave.
we take this new dinghy that we have.
Yes.
So
You've
They
gained
got
got
yourself.
someone with it, didn't they?
we got 2 dinghies.
Oh, yeah. We are 2 dingy cube.
I'm going to say, for the point of we have already run over time, it's very easy for you to dispatch the one guy who is left watching the dinghy, and you gain an extra dinghy. You were able to go back to the Starhopper and retrieve enough crew to, with rope and force and brute and power, haul this treasure up out of these tunnels. You've got gunpowder, you've got tools, you can make the hole bigger, you can. Although you actually find that once you've got the chest up to the top of the slope, it does actually fit back through the tunnel. Which, when you think about it, makes sense because it did come in that way originally. It was just.
I was gonna say, and Einar made it through the tunnel, so
Yes. It's a big chest. But yeah, this big, heavy wooden chest full of gold is now.
But once we got a rope tied to it, a group of people can pull it out.
Yeah,
So
you haul it up out of these ruins. And
Wow.
you're able and load it up to take back to your own boat.
Do we
Yes,
see the other
Antonio.
ship when we're ready to leave?
As you're ready to leave out in the fog, you see the faint shadow of the other ship limping away. And when you return to the ship, Hannah tells you a tale of a brief and slightly bloody altercation where they had a little run-in with another vessel that was lurking around. But Powder fired some cannons at it, and they didn't stick around.
Good.
the
Good.
ship had new cannons.
Yes, using
Yeah.
your new cannons, you've got a new boat, your ship is looking good, and you have much more treasure now to outfit it going onwards in the future. But before you leave the fog-cloaked island behind, before you sail off into the future to spend your fairly earned gains,
Yes.
any last questions or anything you wish to do before you depart?
I think we need to deal with the remains of those. who
Yeah. We
died
make sure that we make sure that they're given a proper burial.
as much as we can. Yes.
Yeah.
But I am curious about the dagger and the scrolls. Whether there's anything we can find out about those.
Curious about the watery tunnel beyond.
There's also the figurine as well. So is there anything we can tell from our knowledge of these or
Well,
not?
what we can say is the question as you turn over, look at this figurine in your hand. You can see there is a symbol scratched into the bottom of it. A symbol that you've not seen before, you don't know the meaning of. It looks like it should mean something. It's an eye, the 7-pointed star within it. As you turn this little statue over in your hand, you feel you've touched on the edge of something. Something bigger and more complicated than you fully yet understand. But what that is, and what will become of that, is a question for another day. You have your treasure. You pile the bodies high and burn them, both those old and both those new. The long dead of this island and the new dead that you've created. As you let the dead go to rest and leave these festering ruins behind, you are able to depart this island richer than you arrived, bound together by this experience of monsters and murder down in the dark depths, and with the knowledge that out there in the world there are 2 Montaigne sorceresses, one of whom has evaded you twice, working for unknown masters and an unknown cause. And the other, a twin, the one to whom you now owe a favour. You have retrieved your treasure, but Vivienne will be asking for her due. And that is where we will leave things for today and for the conclusion of this 7th Sea adventure.